What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That in the well, we're kind of both in very similar colors. I don't know if you guys can tell. Yeah. That is Girl Adara, and I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to migrate on over from the big boy stream. You guys killing this morning with the shorts, but since I want to say maybe about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, we've been putting up a nice uptrend here as we've gone green on the day now on both the NQ and the ES, even the Dow. The Dow's a bad one today, up 3/4 of a point, but the Russ, numero uno, up 1%. There we go. Now we got everybody coming in. We got Mr. Chase Bands. He's chasing those bands, baby. Mr. Long Shorts, Big Kyle Burdett. We got Easy Trader. We got the Pet Detective, Ace Ventura, Peter Panda, Mom Paulsive, Solo Cristo, J-Lo, Tanner Braun. We even have Draco. I wonder if that's a play off the name Drago. Tanner Braun, I said that one already. We got Big Adam DeLuce as well. Stupid Bitcoin. Okay, name. Fabian's not gonna like you. Naps, Sonny Choi, Daryl Finch. We got Jack Knife, Sebastian, Corey Cote. We got Zorro, TLO, Enterprise, and Bristol. So many names here, can't read them all out. Good morning, Dara. Good morning. And what a morning it's been in these markets. We had Fed Williams saying a lot of things. We're having some more Fed speak later today. Right now, I'm just in this NVDL short. We're pretty much flat on, trying to take, if I could take 30 pennies in this, I'd be pleased as punch. Really just trying to focus on honing my trading, honing in on what my issues are, and trying to improve upon those issues. And I think some of that share size, I'm going to give myself a little bit more room so I can have some of these beak wetters and clinch some profit. I like it. What about you? How are you doing today? We're good. We're good. We're in positive territory where we just took a short right now off TSLA. And this one was kind of a little on the nose, if you don't mind my saying so. But this 152 level was just staring at me in the face. Hey, I'm a level. Take me. I mean, no, for real. A 152 in the pre was an obvious local top. Couldn't break it with any decisiveness. Then the bell rings and we absolutely tanked, breaking that 150. I was ready to take that 150 long until I saw the fire that was coming along with that. But we incrementally make our way up, come back into that 152 area, and I said, hello, Mr. Short. So we got nicely short there and took that for a 50 penny banger. We'll look for VWAP on TSLA at 150.75. See if it's able to put in a higher low at that time and maybe end up breaking 152. But today, without further ado, we are talking about Bollinger Bands in the context of small cap trading. Tomorrow is the last day on small cap, so make sure to check that out with Adair and I. But today, we're talking about the Bollinger Breakout, a guide to capturing momentum with Bollinger Bands. What's up? Quickly before we start. The Katina man is still shorting AMD right now, so keep your eye on More Trader TV if you want to see what Neil and Sean are trading as we go through the midday show. So today's lesson explores Bollinger Breakouts, a strategy that utilizes Bollinger Bands to identify potential momentum shifts in small cap stocks. Bollinger Bands are a great tool, but remember, they don't predict the future, so use them alongside other indicators. They don't, believe it or not, Katina man. I know, right? So as we always do, we just have to explain some of the basics for the newer traders out there. What are Bollinger Bands? So they essentially, we're not going to get into the mathematics behind it, but they consist of 3 lines. A simple moving average in the center, okay? This represents the average price over a chosen time period. You can choose whichever amount you want. The duration of that SMA usually is 10 to 14 days. Then the upper band, and I'll show you a graphic description of this in a second. The upper band is typically 2 standard deviations. This takes me back to math class. 2 standard deviations above that middle SMA. So if you've chosen the 10, you've chosen the 14, your upper band, which is your resistance line, is going to be 2 standard deviations above that simple moving average. Same thing goes for the lower band, 2 standard deviations below that middle SMA. And I just had I've got my charts ready with Bollinger Bands. You can see that. The teal line, trust the teal, shout out to Max. This is the top line over here, and you can see we've been kind of hugging that, top Bollinger Band line here on PanW, as PanDub has a big boy day. Let's put in the ticker real quick. Not like it really matters. The middle line over here, that is the simple moving average. And the one that we're using here, I believe, let me just highlight it here. Let me get that ready. There it is. It's a 20 period, I believe. Okay, so no, the 20 period between the upper and lower band. So this is the 20 period SMA in between there, and then right below, that is the low end of the Bollinger Band right there. Okay, am I good to go with the audio, or it's being a weird again, eh? All right, so that is what it looks like illustratively, upper band, middle band, and lower band. So that's all you need to know about that, okay? And here Adara has so kindly put another picture of that. So you can kind of see there's a 20 period SMA or EMA, lower band, upper band. You guys get how it looks visually. So the Bollinger breakout. So let's talk a little bit about this. The key to the strategy lies in how the price interacts with the band. So the upward breakout. So we're going to talk about like the resistance breakout now. When the price decisively, underline decisively, breaks above the upper band with a surge in volume. So you're keeping one eye on the price and the other on the volume. It might signal a potential breakout to the upside. This suggests to you that there's a surge in buying pressure and potential for a momentum upswing. So I want to also say one thing. It's not a lot of the time that you're actually going to see the price action stay above the upper Bollinger Band. It will continue to adjust with the price. So you'll have outlying events like this where the price does actually break and close above where the Bollinger Band's at the time, but it's adjusting so much that you usually are ensconced within it. Another really good example is what we did here right at the bell at 9:45. We broke above the upper Bollinger Band, then consolidated for somewhat, but that kind of foreshadowed what the price action would be later. So keep that in mind, right? We don't always really close decisively above the upper band. It's usually just like a piercing or a perfunctory break of it. The downward breakout. Conversely, if the price breaks the lower band, with significant volume, again, one eye on price, the other on volume, it could indicate a breakout to the downside. This suggests strong selling pressure and a potential downtrend. And here we have that kind of indication as the squeeze starts. You had a fake out, and then it popped right through. And you didn't actually have that closing below the Bollinger Band. In fact, it looked like a bottoming tail candle, kind of like a hammer candle, which could have given you a little bit of a heads up as to what was coming. Conversely, this is where the band narrows. We're going to get to the narrowing and the widening of the band in a second, but I just want to show you this picture. So why are breakouts important? What are we going to use them? So breakouts from Bollinger Bands can signal a change in market sentiment. A stock trading within the bands for a while might be consolidating before making a significant price move. The breakout suggests a potential trend in the making. So if you're watching something on the daily and the Bollinger Band upper line and lower line are awfully close together, more than they had been in the past, and the price is ranging maybe plus or minus $2, all of a sudden you get a break on volume. This might be indicating a trend change, and we were probably in that accumulation phase where big money accumulates at a lower price, not to tip their hand by buying too much. And so they spread that buying over a period of days, and typically what we see is a sideways consolidation before the real action comes in. So how do we using Bollinger Bands effectively here? Here's how to strengthen your Bollinger Band breakout strategy. First things first, confirmation is key. Don't trade solely on the breakout. So you see that piercing of the upper line, you see it accompanied with volume, check, check, but are you going to get into the trade? No. So look for confirmation from the price action itself. Example, continuation patterns. You see perhaps, what are those called? An ascending wedge, or you see a bull flag or bull pennant. These are all continuation patterns that form maybe at key areas of resistance. And you're also looking for increasing volume. But be aware of the false breakouts where price briefly touches the band but quickly reverses. Use stop loss orders obviously to mitigate risk, and be on the lookout for what I just showed you on the previous chart over here. which is these bottoming tail candles, where we have a break of the lower band, but look how quickly the price got bought up and then it ended up closing far closer to the top of the candle than it did at the bottom. You need to be careful with these because we talked about these last week. These are fake out breakdowns or breakouts, okay? So that's what we want to try to avoid here. So confirmation is key, be alert to false breakouts, and volatility absolutely matters. Consider the Bollinger Band width. A wider band indicates a higher degree of volatility, and the breakout might be less reliable. So if the Bollinger Band was already really wide between the lower band and the upper band, and the volatility was up and down plus or minus $5, and then you get a breakout to the upside, well, in my book, that's a little bit less, I would give that one a little bit less weight than I would if it was very tight in the range. The Bollinger Bands, the upper band and the lower band were super close together, and then we had that huge breakout with volume, because that to me would be signaling a trend change rather than just more volatility on top of already a volatile market. Okay, so Katina Man says we're starting to fly here. Are we going up or down? Up. Okay, so because I don't have everything in front of me.
We're flying up.
Well, we're flying up. Yeah, well, we could be flying down. All good. 17,720. What'd you say? Yeah. Have you landed in an airplane before?
Maybe Boeing, if you're flying down.
I love you, Neil. Me and Neil always going at it. From 7:15 a.m., we going at it, baby.
You two are always sparring.
I love it. I love it.
That's great. It's so fun.
You're flying down, Neil. All right. I'm just listening to a conversation take place behind me where Neil is trying to convince people that you descend down, you don't fly down. I guess maybe, yeah, there's like, you're tethered to the sky, maybe the moon, who knows.
Kyle Burnett said flying down is also known as crashing.
Yeah, flying. All right, so let's move on with the lesson here. Combining Bollinger Band breakouts, guys, for a more robust strategy. Combine Bollinger Bands with other technical indicators. The one that I like the most is Relative Strength Index, the RSI. This can help identify overbought or oversold conditions. A breakout from the Bollinger Bands alongside the RSI moving, for example, out of the oversold condition, which is below a print of 30, that could be another check mark on your list. So we have an upper Bollinger Band break. We have it with volume. The Bollinger Bands were awfully close together. The width between the upper band and the lower band was really narrow. And then the RSI was in oversold territory below 30. It comes out of 30. As you're breaking through the upper band, you have all these different check marks beside the name of the instrument you're trading. That helps add confirmation. And also look at areas of support and resistance. Look for breakouts that occur near support. So you're looking, for example, uptrends or resistance levels for downtrends. That adds confluence to your trade ideas. It's kind of simple. So just remember, guys, 3 things here. Bollinger Band breakouts are probabilities. They're not guarantees. Always practice good risk management. Use stop loss orders and size your positions appropriately depending on the instrument you're trading. And backtest your strategies if you can, if your software allows you, or practice it in the sim before ever using real money on the line.
Yeah, definitely. As someone who spent a lot of time in the sim in general, I think it is really helpful because it does help you A, kind of feel more confident trading, and B, when you go live, you know you've tried a lot, right? You know you've had that experience and you feel a little bit more emboldened. Just kind of try and see what happens. So I do want to hype the sim, especially if you're going to trade something like small caps. Also, I'm trying to get a bit of IBIT, but I think that I may have set, again, a little too conservatively, so we're going to switch this. Let's do 48s. Basically, let's do 47s. What I'm watching here is, this is a really small position, by the way. I'm watching here just to kind of see this chop and turn that we've had. I like, earlier we had support, resistance, and then we break above. So I think because we kind of rested this area earlier, I think there's a possibility that we rest and hang out at 40s before going back up. If I take about 12 pennies on this up to 60s, I'll be pleased as punch. This is not a breakout trade, you know what I mean? I like to kind of stick. I know you want to break out a little bit as well, and I have taken some trades like yesterday. That trade when the Qs broke lows, when I took the SQQQ long, that was a different trade for me. So I am trying to get out of my comfort zone a little bit, but at the same time, if I see a setup I like, I want to take that as well. And right now, this IBIT chopping and churning, I'm faithfully watching Mother Bitcoin to see what it's doing. But right now, Mother Bitcoin is behaving pretty well for IBIT. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm still looking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
I need more time.
I was, yeah. But yes, Nikki Cutlets, I love your name, and I am out of the sim. This is my 4th day live. And so far, it's going pretty well. Also, IBIT, if we break below this 35 little nice little fence we had for ourselves, I'm getting out of this trade. Also, Meta. I know, thank you to Kyle Burdett for pointing this one out, and I know you were saying, because it's something I want to pay more attention to as well, right? Like looking and seeing what we do with volume at certain areas. Because I mean, shout out to Kyle and everybody for really always kind of having different ideas, bringing different ideas to us through the chat. I think it's really valuable. This Meta, though, here, I see what you mean for this potential short of this 511 or 512 break, because we had a lot of momentum up, and now we're kind of stuttering a little bit.
Yep.
We're on that Peloton, we're flat. We're kind of, these last couple candles, we had this doji. We're still kind of hanging out just below this 511. I think what we do here could be really interesting, and I'm very curious to see what happens as we break above this. This is not something I'm going to trade because, especially going live, this is not necessarily a stock I would feel super comfortable with, I think, right now. That being said, I want to keep my eye on it, and kind of, it's nice to know what other traders are looking for, and the impetus, the kinds of motives that other traders will be, I was trying to find a plural for impetus, that other traders are going to be using to get into trades, because I think that will help me empathize.
I swear I thought the exact same thing.
The empathize that other traders are kind of using. So I think that's pretty key.
I don't think that's accurate, though.
I don't know if empathize is the word, but I
don't think so either, but it's great.
Impetus? Well, I know impetus is singular, but I don't know if it's plural. That's our thing. But so yeah, that's
What's
really
the plural for
looking
impetus?
to see what different traders are using to get in and out of trades is something I want to work on, so I can help build up my trading instincts and my gut feeling in trading. Impetuses, I don't love that.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it, but it is impetuses. Also, I want to talk really quickly too about this NVIDIA short, because I was really proud of this. NVDL, we took about 14 pennies on this. I used this topping tail candle as my reason to get into the trade. I was like, it looks like we could be heading to the downside a little bit. Initially, the goal was for 20s. When I noticed we were stalling at 30s, and the Q and some of these other names are going up a little bit, I said, Adara, leave this trade. So I got out. Please just punch. Took about 14 pennies. The type of scalping I need to have in my life. Let's see how Bitcoin goes.
All right, let's look at these small cappers, because it's been a small cap focused week all week. So we have a lot of good ones today. BPTH. This one, believe it or not, is still tradable. I know Brenda showed you guys what this one did in 2019 and in 2021. Just in case you didn't join us in the morning. Okay, so this one split adjusted, so we're gonna have to refresh over here. Okay. Eek. Well, you can see the 2021 one where it was trading at 96 bucks, shot up into 486 and absolutely tanked back down. So this one is a former runner. Let's show you the 2019 one if I can here, but anytime they split adjust the charts, they ended up screwing up real bad. Okay, so I can't show you guys. I apologize. But in any event, it is a good looking chart on the daily. So it has not really respected these levels, and by levels I mean the actual indicators. Like, look at this. Look how it dips well below VWAP, well below the 20. It doesn't really hold up at anything specific. So it is a little bit tougher to trade if you're looking for a dip trade, because you're not exactly sure where it's going to hold up or where it's going to reject. But now that I look at it a little bit more, maybe it's not respecting these indicators, but it does seem to be respecting the $1.50. And here's what I mean by that. So look at this candle here at 9:30. We tank all the way down into where? Right into $5, got bought right back up. We end up rejecting off that 7 3/4, and look where the dip trade comes in, right at 5.5. And then over here, when we broke through VWAP, wicking a little bit below it, we were holding up at $6. So it looks like it's going to be the whole or even dollar levels that this BPTH may be respecting on the day. So we'll look to weasel our way into a trade possibly on this, all the while knowing that we've put in 3 lower highs here. So that top 767, that's the high. Then we end up rejecting off 7, adding more credence that this one is respecting the whole dollars, and then come down to 6, and now we're kind of in no man's land between 7 and 6 right now, above the volume weighted average price. BPTH, we'll keep eyes on that. CGC, Neil brought this to your attention on the morning show. I don't even know what the headline for this, if there is one. Let's find out here. Canopy growth, anything for me? No, yesterday there was a whole bunch of marijuana, you know, what's it called? Headlines, but today, not really. What happened yesterday? Oh, there was a Cannabis Capital Conference in Hollywood, Florida. Benzinga did this, actually. Interesting. So they were holding a weed conference. I wonder if they were giving free samples. That'd be interesting. Oh, it can't in Florida, because I think it's still illegal in Florida. Well, for recreational use. So CGC doing things. HOLO, not tradable in my book right now, well below the volume weighted average price. I'll get to DJT in a second. I know you guys are excited about that, but there's another one. It goes by GOTU, got you. So this one is doing a nice move up here. It's not big, 9.37%. It's not a small cap either. 1 2/3 billion market cap. Float about 94 million shares, but it is respecting these levels quite nicely, and it's not really an aggressive mover. Nice hold up here at the volume weighted average price, finding resistance at 6.5, possibly a dip trade to be had at 6 1/3 to play the range that it's established right now. So GOTU, I'll have eyes on that one. And then last, but certainly not least, Donald John Trump. This one getting off the schneid today, that $24 low right off the bell there, technically $23.90, and then you shoot up into that $32.15. Hanging out at $30 right now. So this is a bit of a dangerous one, owing to what we've seen this one do the past week or two. But it is above the volume weighted average price, and that retracement off that 32 break, it held up right at VWAP, 29 1/4, and now it's kind of moving a little bit sideways here at 30. So we'll see if this one can continue to head to the upside of there.
The ups instead of down.
Upside.
Also, thank you so much to Pop and Short. Speaking of downside, $5 super chat, thank you very much. I'm working on improving my risk management. Please advise, what type of ratios are standard? Risk 25% of anticipated gain, how to average it and trail out. Thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for your super chat. So I think one thing too is everyone's gonna have their own strategy, and you kind of have to figure out what works for you. So what I initially would kind of do is I would put kind of arbitrary risk management principles. Don't do that. Don't be like, oh, if it breaks whatever dollar level, unless it makes sense, right? So I think really you can think about it risk to reward, or also if levels end up kind of lining up. So for example, I'll talk about this IBIT trade because I got out of this and this ended up, adhering to my risk reward principles. So I got in here right at 47s, 36, 47s, and I said I want to take this to about 60. So the reward plan was about 30 pennies, or 13, I wish it was 30, 13 pennies. Then I said we're going to get out though if we break below this trough. So this ended up being about 10 pennies. So it's basically for me, I think as long as you're generally trying to gain more than you're risking, I'm okay with it, but I also take really small size, right? And I trade a less expensive stock. So I really think, as much as I know this isn't like the most helpful answer in the world, I think it's really going to depend on who you are as a trader. And I think sometimes you figure out what kind of risk and reward you're comfortable with the more you trade as well. In terms of averaging in and trailing out, so I think one thing we always say about DCAs are dollar cost averages, they should be planned. So if you have a plan for it, if you say, hey, I want to get involved here, and then add if we do okay at this level, I think that's one thing. But I think also, too, you don't want to average into a losing trade out of panic, because I've done that. You know what I mean? And I think as long as you have a plan and adding as part of your plan, then I think that's probably okay. Trailing out sometimes too, you can have certain, like for example, I didn't take enough shares with the IBIT to do this, but I'm just gonna keep using this example. So if I had enough shares to do this, what I could have done was had a plan out here at this 36.60 and then save a piece for the dream. So maybe if you're planning on trailing out, you might wanna have like specific key levels, or if you're trading in NVIDIA, like Sean will have certain dollar levels he wants to get out with NVIDIA, because they'll be in the multi-dollar club. It'll be like, pardon?
Short.
Thank you so much. So Sean explaining too, thank you, Sean, for giving us an in the wild example. Sean saying he's short 858, so he has a bid at the 50 period moving average, right? So it's basically about having plans, having your your profit takers throughout so that you make sure you do clinch some profits and you also have a little bit more room to run. So it really depends on what kind of trader you are, how many beak wetters or you know, profit takers you want to set there. So thank you very much for that very thoughtful question, Pop and Short. I hope that helped because I think it's a really good question. I think really though, as much of an unhelpful answer as this kind of is, you kind of have to figure out what you're comfortable with, and you do as you trade.
I like it. All right, keeping an eye on BPTH here. I set up a dip trade for the volume weighted average price. It already came into that level right as I was about to put the order. It dipped into that 6 1/5, 6 1/4. We'll see if it comes back in there. It's putting in higher lows though. We are aware, and I am aware of the lower highs owing to that pop into 7, almost 7 1/3 there. So you can see that denoted by the lower trend line, but equally, you can make the case for the compression on this one, as this one, the price range is definitely tightening up. Typically, when there's a compression pattern, or so the textbook says, it resolves in the direction of the trend, but I want a better price if I can. So keeping an eye on BPTH. The other thing I'm keeping an eye on is META, because it did come into a previous high, that's 512, and now it is coming a little bit down off that 512. Now, I don't want to stand in front of this monster. It's up 3.5%. It's awfully spready. We're talking about a 16 penny spread as we speak. So getting cut up on this is a real concern and a real threat. So getting in here, you're going to have to time it really well, but it's at resistance level 2 on pivots. That 512 area was a previous day close, so we could have some individuals selling at this area. But again, be careful with this one, because standing in front of Meta when it's up 3.5% could be a dangerous proposition. Keeping an eye on that. The other thing that I'm keeping an eye on, AAPL. This could be an interesting range trade here on Apple, because it is very, very consolidative. And let's just say the consolidation started around an hour ago at 10:30 or so, once we broke above the volume weighted average price and we tested that 6 1/4, 6 1/3, it has been doing almost nothing in terms of range here. 168 to the low side and essentially maybe 168 1/4 to the high side. And that has been kind of a rinse and repeat for the last hour or so on AAPL. So if you're a range trade interested, that one could be your trade. Let's see what else is moving here. Google, another decent day here for Google. Nice V-shaped retracement. Look at the shape between the Google chart and the futures chart. There's a lot of overlap between the two today, and we've been noticing there's been a lot of overlap between the NQ and NVIDIA as of late, and you can see today definitely Google jiving with the future. So that is something to make note of. Google coming in to the the afternoon high from yesterday, which took us into that 156 2/3. So we're not quite there yet. We haven't broken the $0.50 level on Google, but that is a level to be cognizant of. If we do make it up there, could be an interesting short. Keeping an eye still on META. I want to see if it's going to flush off that 512 touch. It's still awfully close to it, 511.5. So nothing for me to jump into yet here on META.
Yeah, I'm trying to hop into my Model 2 because, like I said, I don't want to call TSLA the Cybertruck, so it's the Model 2. It's a discount model. I think I was a bit too conservative on my entry. I wanted 93s. We're not getting 93s. I like this because we had lower highs, these very bearish candles both times, and near VWAP. Could we have a flat bottom break? I'm still interested in this, but I'm not going to get what I want from it right now, so I'm going to leave it be. But Self-Ability M saying, can we talk about PLTR? And yes, we can. A couple other people were asking about this one in the chat, I think, as well. I think Finch Dane, I believe, was mentioning PLTR, so let's talk about it. Self-Ability saying they're not understanding the squeeze on this name. Oh, this is interesting. So to me, I think there's some area of resistance at 2142. Now, Sharif was mentioning this, I think, with Tesla earlier. Oh, thank you for the bang button.
Bang.
This is the kind of stuff I like, where we kind of come into these pre-market areas and reject. This is an interesting look to me on PLTR. I think it means that this level, this rejection is stronger than maybe it initially appeared here. We did fall to the downside. I want to see, though, what we do at 2130. because that was a little bit of a pre-market trough heading into the open. And we also had a little bit of a troughing, for lack of a better term, at 2130 earlier today as well. So I think what we do at 2130 will be of interest to me. It looks like we might pick up a little bit earlier here at 2133, but I think this is an interesting look on PLTR. I'm going to see, because you're asking about info on the squeeze, I'm going to see if I didn't hear any stories about it this morning. Not seeing any stories on this today.
The Katina man has wet his beak on some profits on NVDA, so shout out to the Katina man.
858. Oh. 50 period.
The 50 period, yeah.
So,
850.
yeah, so Sean got out at the 50 period, which is 850. So $8 winner here for Sean on, sorry, $3 winner. Oh, 58 to 53. Okay, sorry, I can't hear.
Yeah.
But so $3 winner on that. Congrats to Sean. Also, PLTR now coming into that area of interest at this 23. So this might actually go on my side chart. But yeah, self-ability, I don't have really a reason for this. It looks like a bit of maybe a double top or coming into resistance. How are you doing? I heard.
Good. Yeah, we took some profits on that TSLA, but it's coming. It's breaking through VWAP. The whole idea here was to get the VWAP dip and defend on Tesla. But if it breaks down a little too much, I'm just going to get out of it. I already got a little bit out there at the 151-ish area. Let's just see if this one can hold up. I don't want to be too quick to take this one out, but we are back at 17.7 here on the future. So this could be an interesting dip trade. Now, I'm hesitant to say that these dip trades on these 100-point levels are going to be as valid maybe as they were a few weeks ago, guys. But the whole point is to be at least aware of them, right? So I'm keeping an eye here on 17.7 as we're at that level right now. Back into the 90s we go on TSLA. Let's see if we can break through that 151, and then I'll wet my beak on maybe some more profits up there. Tesla down 2% or more, almost 3% on the day. Here comes 151 yet again on Tesla, and there it is, and I'm just going to take it out right there. So a nice 25-penny winner on Tesla. Let's look for the next trade. Apple just broke the range. I was just singing Apple's praise, saying, oh, look, it's so rangy, this, that, and the other, and we could take VWAP, and then it makes you say, okay, maybe I should think about a little bit more next time before I speak, because this one absolutely broke 168 and down it goes. Here comes 167 and a quarter. We're at 86s, 82s now. Apple on the way down. Nice break of the range here, and it was, I don't want to say this was a rounded top. It kind of looked like a flat top, to be honest, but that could have been giving us a little bit of an indication that the bottom was going to come out sometime here. AAPL breaking through the range there. So possible. How do you play this, Apple? Yeah, I'm gonna hold up because I don't have a good read on it. Now back to Meta, the other one that I had a look at earlier. We were talking about that 512 being a level of resistance. It absolutely came in. It dipped into 509.5, but we were in that Tesla trade sadly, so we didn't have eyes on Meta as it was making a nice move down there off that 512 rejection. We're above 17.7 on the future, so I guess we didn't give up that level quite yet, Adara.
Yeah, I'm putting the esteemed Palantir on my side chart.
I can take it.
No, it's all good. I'm all good. I'm not actually, I realized I wanted to put that on my side chart. I'm trying to get right now into SQQs. I want to take this short because the Qs, as Sharif was mentioning, that potential dip buy kind of happening on the Qs. I like this look. We're kind of hovering around VWAP. We're ready to peep up. They're like little birds on the clothesline or the telephone line, the telephone line ready to fly into action. So if they do, I want exactly all of the smoke on SQQ. So we got involved.
Bang.
We're risking 5 pennies. We're trying to get minimum 7. I'm okay with that risk to reward. And that goes back to Pop and Short's super chat question earlier, which I really enjoyed answering. And it made me think a lot. And I think, yeah, like for me, I don't really like the whole 25%, 50%, at least for myself, because I find for me, if I try to, I'll make it a little bit too arbitrary or I won't risk enough. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I think I like using previous support and resistance, and as long as that shakes up to I'm trying to make more than I'm risking, I'm okay with it. So for me, I chose this 82 level because that was that previous, I think, pretty clear top of the range before open. So if we break above that, to me, that's going to be a clear change in sentiment. And then I want to risk, you know, I want, I guess, to reward myself with these 7 pennies because that was the bottom of the range. So that was kind of the plan I'm trying to make there, if that makes sense. And I think that's kind of been helpful to me. Also, we're gonna get our little beak wetter ready. We're gonna be taking 2/3 of the position out at 70s should the Qs have us at that level. I would love if they do, you know. SQQs, if you want to invite us over to dinner at that 71 penny level, I'd be pleased as punch. But there we go. PLTR curling back up. I said I want to see what it did at that 9 EMA around that 30 area, and it looks like PLTR curling back to the upside, so I should have taken that, but now it's on my side chart. So if I see something I like, I want to get involved. Tesla, I think there's probably some ranges that I've been missing, although I will be playing its little sister, Tesla. So right now, I mean, lower highs here in TSLA, and I've noticed, like, I'll pull up Tesla for comparison. These two are almost identical, with the exception of VWAP is in a slightly different place on them. So we're slightly more below VWAP on TSLL, so slightly. Yeah, but I want to see what we do. We've had lower highs, lower lows. I was a couple pennies shy of the short in terms of my entry point in TSLL. I'm not going to make that mistake twice. I want to come at with a swiftness, an aggression, a viciousness. Also, I guess the world will be coming with a swiftness with the Taylor Swift album coming out, apparently.
What?
Yeah, there's that, Sean was talking about it, the Tortured Poets, whatever, coming out today at Poets Department. I did know that, and I decided not to say it, but I think Sean knew I knew it too. The Tortured Poets Department.
Why are we
so
on
I guess
me?
The world coming with a swiftness here as well.
All right, that's awesome. Guys, Meta is on the way down, so that 512 rejection was absolutely valid, and it is now at 508 and change. Meta breaking through the 10 period here, moving average. Where does Meta find a bottom? I mean, like, you're not going to convince me Meta's going to go right on the day. Where do we find a bottom here on Meta? So maybe there were these topping wick kind of candles. This is the IB high. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons at that 506 area. Yeah, well, that's also just a smidge above where VWAP is hanging out, which is at 505 and maybe 2/3 and 3/4, some around that. So Meta on the way down here, 3 red candles uninterrupted in a row on the 5-minute look on Meta, rejecting 512. The other thing that I'm looking at here, definitely the future. I have a dip trade set up on the T triple Qs. For, I believe, 54.10. Oh, wow, it came into 54.10, didn't fill me. I guess it didn't cross. That's on me. I should have had it a couple of shekels higher, but we are getting these bottoming tail candles off 17.7 on the NQ June contract. That's typically what you look for when you look for a level defend. I mean, that's what I look for. Okay, bottoming tail candles showing you that the buyers are stepping in at that key level. This is what I'm looking at here, guys, on the NQ June contract. You get these, you know, doji-looking candles at a clear level after clearing it by some margin. How high do we get up here? We got into the mid-40s. Yeah, 46s. So we cleared the 100-point level by about 50 points or so. So I'm looking to get a dip trade to get a better price, but that's kind of a blessing and a curse because sometimes you get filled and you have a great price, and sometimes you just don't get filled. So I'm just going to leave it where it is. If I get filled, great. The other one I want to complain about is BPTH. I had this one set up at exactly $6.25, and it came down into $6.26. So that's a bit of an annoying one. Maybe I should not have them at these quarter dollars or even dollars, a little bit above, a little bit below, to kind of ensure getting filled. But this one is continuing to make the higher lows. We haven't broken this lower. Wow, I just got filled, and it's tanking. Okay, that's not a good look, so I'm going to get caught in the down halt here. Not a good look there, as it just absolutely tanked. I got filled at 6 1/4, and it dipped aggressively into 586. This is going to halt to the downside. In fact, I'm going to get long here. Come on. Come on. See if I can get long. Yes, I am long at 586. Let's see what this one does. It's up 80-some-odd%. Still above the volume-weighted average price. We're caught in a down haul now. Let's see what we get on BPTH at these levels. Small position. Let's see how this one ends up. Let's go back into T-triple-Q. So we did get the fill there at 54.10 on the T-triple-Q. So we're going to have to defend 17.7 now if this trade is going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shaking in my boots a little bit in this SQQs. I'm about 1 penny out of the money, so for me, it's just more about like the setup that I'm worried about because we're resting at this 9 EMA. We're sitting very pretty at this 9 EMA. I think we could be. I don't know how I feel about this. I have no reason to leave yet, so we're gonna stay in this. But I'm noting my qualms because there is a qualm, and my qualm is what, also I do like saying that word, what we're doing here at this 9 EMA. So I shout out to Joanna Brewster in this trade as well. We're gonna have to see how this one goes for the SQQ team. But one thing that I do like here with the Qs that does give me a little bit of credence, although this move down doesn't really, is like I like that we had these little dojis, little tails showing, hey, we might be ready to go to the upside in the Qs. Right now it looks like we actually will be heading to the downside potentially, so we're gonna have to keep my eye on these SQs, but I have no reason to leave right now, so I'm gonna stay calm and stay in this trade. Staying calm is actually, I think, a big thing that I've been trying to get better at since I went live, because I think I would be a little bit of a nervous Nelly when I was trading in the sim. I would be like, ah, and I'd panic sell and I wouldn't need, or panic buy in the case of a short, and I wouldn't need to. So I think now it's just like, Adara, you have a plan. You can take deep breaths, and you can just let the trades unfold how they may. So Meta also, too, I have to shout out Kyle Burdett for this. He said I wasn't able to take it, but I mean, you called the setup. He said he was looking for that 512 short. So, I mean, really nice setup here. I think this is one that I probably would have traded had I been in the sim, because I do think this is a nice look. But it's, I don't know, it would probably have been a little bit harder for me to enter, just because it's definitely not a range type trade. But congrats to anybody who got this meta short. And shout out to Kyle for totally calling this level of that 512. Nice look there on the short. NVIDIA getting a little bit rangy, which I mean, we know that has me excited. Sean's floosh to the downside there. This NVIDIA, look at this.
The Katina Man is short Amazon.
Short Amazon, nice. Can I guess the entry price? Okay. 182.35. Oh, okay, 29.
That's good.
Nice.
That's close.
Nice look. Yeah, right. Also, too, aligning with these little dojis earlier. I really like that. But congrats shout out to Sean for his short there. That was so many SH words in a row. For this Amazon. Right now, though, yeah, I like NVIDIA kind of chopping and churning around that 9 EMA. It could be something for me in its little cousin NVDL. Okay, we took some out of the TQQs at the break of 20s. It came down and defended 54. We're below 17.7 right now on the future, so we're still putting in these bottoming tail candles, but something to be aware of. I'm going to put my order on the other side of 54, so if we do break down aggressively in the TQQs, we will get out of that level. We already took some profits on it there for, what was it, 11 pennies. Ooh, a whole 11 pennies there, baby. Penny club. The other one that I'm in is BPTH. The halt level, the top is 585. I'm long 585 right now, so no change in the auction. This one is scheduled to open up 11:43.58 if it is to be a 5-minute halt. So keeping an eye on that one, as we did get caught in that down wall by design, really, because we punched long while it was halting, while it was in that halt parameter. So we'll see if we can get a move up on that one. This one, if you are trading using PPRO 8, the way to set up an order, I just asked the Katina Man this, and thank him for letting me know that the way to set up an order, if you want to get out of a stock that is halted and you're long or short, you set up a market on open order, an MOO, MOO order, and that will allow you to put in the order. Otherwise, if you try to enter the order right now, it will just reject it for you. So keep the future, Andrew, is the futures contract. So when I say future, I'm typically referring, bless you Katina Man, to the NQ June contract or the ES June contract. So that is what I mean by future. I hope that helps. All right, so we are going to possibly look. No, we're still okay on this TQQQ. We're like break even at 1 penny in the money at the moment. I'm seeing if we can hold up at 17.7. That's really the whole idea here. Now, the top is about 4 pennies lower than where I got in right now on BPTH. So where are we here? We're open now, and we pop back up, and that's going to be the out for me. So I'll break even on that one. Didn't pop up in the aggressive way that I wanted. We were tapping at around 610 at one point. So not the trade that I wanted on BPTH, but that's fine. Let's now focus on the TQQs. Yeah, I should have. I had this on my side chart. I just noticed it went without me. But shout out to Kyle Burdett for pointing out this SoFi short at the 734, 735 area, because we had this massive bearish engulfing candle, which engulfed basically the 3 previous green candles. I'm going to try to get in at 34s. I don't know if SoFi will have me. I think we might already be so far gone to the downside. Shout out to Drake, I guess, for some reason. But yeah, so we'll have to see what we do here on SoFi. I do like this look. I would like to get involved, and I think it looks like we're going to switch to 33s, because what's life without whimsy? And it's 1 cent.
Nothing.
Also, I do want to address this. I did put this in the chat as well there. Luke Waters asking, I guess, saying, wouldn't it make more sense to go long the TQQQs rather than going short the SQs? And so the reason I did that was because for my buying power, I feel more comfortable with the SQQQs. That's really the long and short of it, pun sort of intended. But yes, the TQs are like at $55, right? So for me, that's not something I'm going to be as comfy with, say, as if I'm going to go, going to take these Qs or these SQs. So that I just wanted to explain why that was my decision there, because I think it's a valid question. Brutal NVDA rocket up says, or it's brutal. NVDA rocket up says, get a real job. I missed the exclamation point there, which definitely makes a difference. I'm happy. I was considering shorting this. I'm taking this range short. I'm happy I didn't. I should have taken the long. Oh, I was going to do NVDL. So I'm going to have to wait here. I think I probably missed any opportunity. It's hard, these ranges. As someone who likes ranges, they're not really here in this market today. So it's been a little bit of a tougher gig for someone who considers himself a range trader. But that's what these markets are about, baby. You got to take opportunities. Oh, yeah. You got to learn how to adapt and figure things out and hopefully become a little bit of a better trader each day. So right now, slightly red, basically flat here. It really is going to depend on what the Qs do. But like I said, honestly, I took some trades I'm happy with. I'm super proud of this little baby NVDL shorting the rip earlier. Instead of buying the dip, short the rip. So I was happy with this. That didn't make sense. Short the dip. I don't know. We took a short here. It was a brief short. I was happy with it. Nice. I'm trying to find some more opportunities in kind of a similar fashion. SoFi, if you want to let me in, I'd be pleased as punch. How are you doing?
Did you knock on the door?
I did. I was like, SoFi.
Let's go.
Please
SoFi.
loan me at a point of entry.
Where are you, Anthony? Isn't he the CEO, Anthony Noto? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, let's go, bro. Open up the door. Or close the door, depending on if you...
Yeah, who knows?
All right, Meta just got in and out real quick here. Tried to take the dip trade. I saw a bit of a hammer candle form on META. I still like this long on Meta, believe it or not, if we hold up at 17.7. But that's the caveat, if we hold up at 17.7. I think if we give up the ghost, as my friend Neil likes to say, at 17.7, then I think Meta at least maybe a 506 retracement down into the volume weighted average price, something like that. So we shall see what Meta gives us. I'm inclined to get into Meta again because this one, once it starts going, it really starts going parabolic. So I'd like to have a dip trade on this if possible. I'm going to pack my patience. Let's see what my TQQQ, or 1 penny in the money, doing nothing at these levels. I feel like we're sideways moving now on the future. Coast to coast to give up the ghost. Sharif, I love it. I love it. No, I don't. Who is that? Immature. Oh, okay. Bringing back some memories, man. Big Kyle Burdett. Come on, bro. Yeah, shut the door, Kyle. Did you know that Kyle is one hell of a metal artisan?
No.
Yeah, man, the dude kills it. He was sending me some pictures on the gram. The dude can absolutely, he does all this different metal work. Staircases, metal fencing, you name it, the dude does it. It's fantastic stuff. Very there. Cool. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. One hell of an artisan there. Okay, so let's see what else. BPTH making me look bad here. So I literally got out about 4 cents above bottom wick, it dipped into, I guess, 67. I'm talking about 567, then right up into 6. That's kind of the move I was looking for, but it didn't do it as quickly as I thought it would. So kind of sucks there, but looks like the future, we may be giving up the ghost here at 17.7. So if this breaks $54 on the TQQQs, we're going to lose 10 pennies on the last couple of shares out here that we have, which is all good, baby, because, well, we wanted to take the trade. So put on the shareage to see if we can get this done. What else is moving here? Let's see what the other small caps are doing. CGC, okay, we completely forgot about CGC over here. I'm going to take off TSLA and we'll put CGC on because it did get a bit of a bounce there off the 10 EMA. Now it's curling back up on a 7 2/3 hold. Now back into 7 3/4. It definitely did the dance with 8, couldn't break through 8, 798 technically HOD on CGC, guys. This is up 19.5%. With no catalyst from today, but it is probably still reeling from the catalyst yesterday, which was the Benzinga Cannabis Conference down in Florida, which I find to be funny. At least put it in a state where cannabis is legal, like New York or California or something. But I love Florida anyway, right? Always a good time when you're in the Sunshine State. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, CGC coming up into that 780. This is an interesting hold here on the 10 period.
Yeah, so someone was, Tommy Trillions was asking, because he's like, oh, you guys are kind of in opposite positions. Well, actually, because I am, this is kind of, I am short the short cues. So I am long the cues, but I will not be long the cues for much longer.
No, neither will I.
Because, yeah, I'm getting out here. I don't like this.
It's breaking down, yeah.
But yeah, so there we go. We are leaving this trade. All good. All good. But you got to do what you got to do. Also, though, again, I'm still, shout out to Kyle once again. I feel like we're always shouting out big Kyle Burdett, but I am short SoFi. Happy with this. If we break kind of above into that 35, 36, I'm going to be risking a couple pennies here. Then I'm going to have to leave. I want to take some out around 30s. That's going to be the goal. So we're going to actually have that set up there so that when it hits, it will hit. Here we go. Happy with that. I don't have anything on the cues right now. I'm going to stay away from them, I think. But also, someone was saying here, Kevin, saying TLST better long than TLSL. So let me look at TLST. Volume's nice. I like the volume. I think, yeah, honestly, let me see how, does it look similar? Yeah, so it's almost the same as TL. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to have to watch them both because I do not mind the look of this TLST. I just need to watch it a little bit more to get a better sense because this is a new one for me, TLST. I've been having so much fun with my Tesla.
I think Big Kyle's upset.
Big Kyle Burdett. Sorry, it took me way too long to find the message. Big Kyle Burdett, thank you for the shout out for SoFi. I missed the big. There, right? I'm so confused for a second there.
All right, I'm seeing a new small cap gapper du jour show up on my scanner. It goes by the ticker ALRN. What is this one all about? Aileron Therapeutics. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but that's all good. Let's bring in the side chart and have a look at this bad boy as it is doing things. 115 now. $1 million market cap. The float on this bad boy is what? 4 million shares. So small, but not very small. The volume on it still a little suspect, but it did just start coming in. The volume is sub 1,955,000 shares. It's already retracing, though. Let's be real about this one. It's already topping out here at 7.5, just shy, of 7.5, 742, and now it's coming down into that 6.5. Held up at 6.5, a couple of candles here, and these bottoming tail candles could be, kind of indicative of buyers stepping in at this 6 1/3, 6.5. ALRN. Does it have, yes, it does have a headline. This came in earlier. No. Okay, so this one was maintained by rating agencies earlier and then at 11:50. So I think about 2 minutes ago, let me just make sure that that's accurate. On my chart, it looks like it came in 2 minutes ago, my blotter, that they filed a U.S. patent application for methods for preparing purified polypeptide compositions. Don't know what that is. But anyway, it's gotten a nice move up here. What time did the headline really have an effect? And you can always look at the price action and the volume. It looks like 11:39. This one really started moving. So not even 20 minutes, about 15 minutes. Volume weighted average price hanging out just sub 6.5, 640 or thereabouts. And so it hasn't made its way down there yet. I'm a little less inclined to trade this until I see more participation in it, because right now it looks as if it's sparsely traded. What is the spread right now on this bad boy? 4 pennies, 3 pennies, not too bad for a $6 name. Not that bad, especially for something done that's done about less than 1 million shares. All right, a couple of super chats over here, and some clapping going on the other desk. So we'll get Adara's take in a second. Tesla, gap up, I'm long. Ahmed says, shout out to you, my man. Where is Tesla doing right now? Well, I mean, Tesla's on the way down to 150, so you may have an interesting dip trade. Or it looks like you're already long at 150. Thank you very much. What is AED again?
AED?
We looked at dirhams. It's like something dirhams, right?
Yeah, I'm going to look this up.
Chase bands, $2 super chat. Sorry? Keep your eyes on energy transfer. What does that mean? What is energy transfer? Is that a company? ET? Okay, let's find out. Right.
Thank you, Sean.
ET go home? Yeah, ET. Thank you, Katina, man. Yes, it's already going. What if it's an IPO? What is this?
Oh.
That's not an IPO. Yeah. ET's been doing things. Thing's a $52 billion market cap. Okay, let's have a look at ET. ET, go home.
I was going to say, yeah.
All right, let's have a look at this. So what is the situation with ET? First of all, there's an options frenzy according to Benzinga. Price target raised today by Mizuho from 18 to 19, reiterating the buy. So Mizuho giving the nod to ET today. I guess that's probably the look. This is the daily chart on ET. Oh, it did have ET in the past. Okay. Daily chart looks good here on ET, up and to the right. A little bit of a retracement from 16 to 15, right back up into 15 and a third. Let's look at the intraday chart right now on ET. So gap up right there at 9:30 from the yesterday's closing price, which was 15 and a quarter. Like I said, we're at 15 and 2/3 or thereabouts. Good look, but kind of light trade here. 1 million shares done on the day. Keep me updated if this one breaks out again. Chase bands, you don't have to do a super chat. Just tag me, and then I should be able to see that. But let me know about this one because it doesn't look all that bad. Shout out to you. All right. Taxi driver, fun is at 666. Yikes. Okay, let's look at PHUN, which was obviously, it mimicked the movements of DWAC. Today, Donald John Trump is going by GJT. That's what I'm talking about there. Up 10%, 9 2/3% off that high, but the volume is just way too light on this. I got to tell you the truth. It's done less than 500,000 shares, so I won't be trading Funware today. But, it's up. So, nice. Nice look there, taxi driver. You want to tell us about the fist pump?
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm really happy with this IBIT short, and I'd like to chat about it if I may. So look at this. So you know what you have to do sometimes? You have to take the trades that didn't work out and flip them for yourself. So I had this long, not a plan, but then I look at Bitcoin and I'm like, Adara, that little Bitcoin trough that you were playing off of is still kind of in play. So I went short this 35 area. I was going to risk until about 40s. We didn't have to because it fell right below. I was very pleased as punch. We got a nice dip, basically took it out around 22s, took about 13 pennies on this. Very happy. If we keep kind of playing off this range, I do like the idea. We're having these lower lows. I think this could be a nice play. I didn't want to get too much of a position in this just because of buying power, but honestly, next time I'd probably take a few more shares just so I could save a piece for the dream, because I do think IBIT's going to the downside, and I definitely want to be there with it. SoFi.
Whoa.
Happy. I have no words. I really dramatically flicked the button there, and I have nothing to say except for good times. Happy with this trade right now. Continues to kind of chop and churn a little bit. I might add to this at 34s because I have a pretty small position. But again, thank you to Kyle Burdett for pointing out this short. I'm happy with this until we break above into that 35, 36 area. That is when I'm going to have to cut the cord and have to say goodbye to SoFi. Tesla curling up a little bit here. I don't have a play on this right now, but NVIDIA is the one I'm really watching because this is bamboozling. We have this little doji here, then a red candle, another red candle, but they're kind of consolidating here around the 90 MA. This looks like it could be breaking back up, but the other part of me thinks it could be a short. Much like these Qs, they're really hard to read. Now Qs are below. Now we're kind of below view up here. I'm gonna have to wait and see here. I wish I had a better read on this market. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys, but just trying to take trades that I'm comfortable with, and mainly if that IBIT range keeps being rangy, someone's gonna get back involved. So that's mainly what I have.
I like it.
Just in SoFi.
All right, let's look at Netflix here for Pretty Panda. They do report today after the bell, so do not forget that. Netflix, I mean, if you've been watching this former FANG name, it has been a rocket ship to the high side, often marching to the beat of its own drum, not really following the market at times. And that just really, is really reflective of investor enthusiasm with this name and the fact that they're the only profitable streaming service out there. It's kind of crazy to think that, you know, the likes of Disney and Paramount and all these other NBC, Universal, Comcast, they can't get profitable. But NFLX can. All right. Now, we were talking about Bollinger Bands today, so let's take the opportunity to talk about the fact that the Bollinger Bands have been narrowing. So look at this wide gap up. This is the last earnings date over here. That was January 24th when we rocketed up from the close there, sub 500, okay? Sub 500 on the last earnings day, and by the end of that earnings day, we were knocking on the door of 500 and 2/3, and within a few days, we did get into that $600 area. So that was why it widened so much. Now it has narrowed, so the price has been a little bit of sideways lately, a couple of good days, a couple of bad. Now, with respect to support and resistance, obviously you have the lower Bollinger Band as your level of support, but it also happens to conflate with that $600 level. So you do have support at 600, but you know what? You know, that 600 level is not going to hold up if they really miss earnings. The area that really I have my eye on is 500. That was a local top before the last earnings date. So if we really tank here, 500 obviously could be an interesting area of at least local support. Now, let's flip to the weekly, because we are not, believe it, at all-time highs on Netflix. So the fact that we got into the 640s, I believe, 639 was the highest we've printed lately. Yeah, 639 was the highest lately, but that's not the all-time high. The all-time high takes us all the way back into November of 2021, and that was $700. We didn't close above 700, but we got into $700 on the week of November 15th, 2021. That is the week that Papa said inflation is not transitory, and then you see what happened after that. From the top there to the bottom, we dropped 76%, and that was within, you know, a couple of months. So it's been a nice recovery for Netflix. So obviously 700 resistance, 500 support. That's what I'll say about Netflix, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what the earnings give us after the bell. Make sure to check out the market recap show, Sean.
Yeah, Sean always killing it with the market recap. Lots of guests, lots of tweets, lots of talking, lots of markets. Definitely check it out. But yeah, right now, this NVDL. I took the short. We're good. We're just chilling. We're rejecting 37s a little bit. I'm worried we could break above 37s, but we tried, and it kind of went. So we didn't have a big poof up. We kind of had a little bit of a nap. We're trying again. I don't know. I think I might have been a little bit too rushed into this. I think I might have just really wanted to take a trade and then bamboozled myself in. So I'm going to be really honest about that, but I have no reason to leave right now. Like I said, watching to see what we do with 37s. And then I think if we break down, this could be a nice little breakdown here. The thing that does concern me as well is these little Qs making a nice big push to the upside as well. So I think if they do that, their pal NVIDIA and its little sister NVDL could also make a move to the upside. So I do need to be very cognizant of that.
You know what I missed?
What?
150 dip on Tesla. After telling, I don't know who I was telling, but I told somebody to take that. Double bottom, 150 TSLA. Range between 150 to 140, 150-ish, right? 150.50 or thereabouts. VWAP on Tesla, 150.75, and there it goes, man. Dang it. Right up into that 2/3 of a dollar area. Keep your eye on this 151, though. Okay, because 151 was an obvious area of resistance earlier in the day when we couldn't really break through. I'm talking about 9:30 till about 10:30. So an hour of resistance at 151, and then we use 151 as support. So we're kind of flipping a little bit between support and resistance. So if this makes it back into 151, this is going to be an interesting short, to be honest with you. In the same way that 150 was a great long here that I missed. So I'm putting a notification for Tesla at 150.90 because I want to know once it's inching into that 151 area. But yeah, that's an interesting range trade right now on TSLA. Not too many range trades on Tesla, to be honest, or at least not lately. So. All right, back into the TQQs. Man, we are hovering at 17.7. This is going to be another afternoon where we just absolutely consolidate at the 100-point level. I feel like we've been getting a lot of these lately, and then until the auction comes or something, and then it has an effect of changing things. Do we have anything today, Adara?
We have the TIPS auction, TIPS 5-year auction here. What does the tip stand for? Because someone in the chat
Oh, I
was
have no
asking this.
idea.
I don't even know. Okay, I'll look it up.
5-year, yeah, we had 11.30, we had 2, we had the 4-week and the 8-week. We had Bostic dropping hot lines at 11, and then Azadera.
Oh, inflation protected is what the tips is. Thank you.
That'd be interesting to see how that works. Thanks, Neil, for that. Interesting. Oh, nice. I like how you have that there. That's awesome.
Ooh.
Very cool. Who's that? Fabian. It's a Chilean nightmare, baby. He's doing things. All right, right back into that $54 level we go on the TQQQs here. Decisions to be made, all the while cognizant of these lower highs that we've been putting on the future. Elon. Hi, Sheriff. Another case in point for Bollinger Band application. LVS. LVS?
Oh, Las Vegas Sands.
Okay.
They had earnings.
Fell way out of Bollinger Bands with a hammer candle, potential rebound. Let's look at what our friend Elon is talking about. Let's bring in the Bollinger Band chart. And let's look at Las Vegas Sands. Oh, very interesting. So is this an earnings day for them today?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Okay, nice. After the bell. And yeah, absolutely right. Bang on. But it hasn't turned into a hammer candle quite yet. But this is the weekly. Let me flip to the daily. Excuse me. There. So yeah, but it does decisively break through the Bollinger Band there. So the Bollinger Band on my chart ends at 47.25. The price action right now is 46.5. But it is putting that hammer candle. I see what you're saying. The fact that it went down to 45.5 and now we're trading at 46.5. Let's look at what the intraday looks like. Okay. So a bit of a bounce back. We're hanging out at the volume weighted average price right now. We are straddling VWAP from the high side. Interesting look here, Elon. Not one that I typically trade, but this is a very interesting trade owing to the fact that we did defend VWAP earlier, and we're at it right now, 46.5. This could be interesting here, Elon. Now, the question is, what's your profit target? Let's be realistic about it. I mean, I'd play the range, 46.5 to the low side, 47 to the high side. I wouldn't be so ambitious as to think maybe we can get to 48, which is where we opened. The high technically is 48 and a fifth, which is the IB high. That's a good look, Elon, for a range trade here on LVS. 46.5 low, 47 high. Yeah, let me know how it goes, Elon. Tag me again if you end up taking the trade, and I want to know exactly how you did on that. I'm probably going to load it up on my chart too, and maybe just have a look at it and see if it's doing things. Trades on New York. My mistake. Let me load up that. All right, there's another tag here. Day trader cut. Fed Bostic is dropping hot lines right now. No way. Okay, let's find out if Bostic is saying anything worthy of my news blotter. Okay, yes. Fed Bostic. I think the economy will continue to grow as we get both mandates back in line. Okay, in case you're wondering what the mandate is for the Fed, they have to maintain price stability and they have to maintain full employment. Those are their dual mandates, and so they have to obviously do that with the economy in mind. So I guess that's what he's talking about there. Not much else in terms of statements that have made my that have reached my blotter. So anything comes worthy, make sure to tag me, guys, and I will be more than willing to oblige.
Yeah. I have it up too. I'm not seeing anything right now. I'm going to look at Amazon. I don't think it's really doing anything here. Let me see. Is it? Because this guy, Jim Labenthal, announced on CNBC that he bought more Amazon.com. Sometimes we do get a move up on some of those CNBC things.
Yeah, I like that guy. Labenthal.
Labenthal.
He's cool.
I apologize, Jim, for calling you Labenthal. But also, I want to talk about this NVDL trade because I am not that pleased as punch about this. And it's not because, I think the short is still valid. My issue is, like I said, I think I didn't FOMO into this, but I think I just really wanted to be involved. I wanted all the smoke, but I didn't get proper fire insurance before getting involved here. So I got a little bit burned in the trade. It ended up working out okay. It took about 10 pennies, but it's like Adara. The short was still fire. You could have let it go down a little bit lower. Instead, you wanted all the smoke, so you weren't prepared, and then the smoke came, and then you got out too early. So basically, the long and short of that is if I had just planned this trade better and if I hadn't felt the need to rush into it, I think I would have been prepared to stay a little bit longer, but that's okay. Happy I got out and took some profits, but I think I also want to always take the opportunity, even in trades that do work out in a P&L perspective, to learn. So the lesson here is that I should have planned it better in the first place. I bit breaking down, and I was not paying enough attention, so I should have been involved in that. SoFi, I didn't say anything there, so I'm just dancing. We're ready here for this this 30 area that I'm saving pieces for dreams. Thank you again to Kyle for pointing this one out. I'm ready to get some move to the downside here. Yeah, happy with how the trades have gone so far, I do have to say, except for that NVIDIA. But again, I'm going to use that as a lesson. You know, taking less L's, although that still was technically a W, but it didn't feel like one, you know what I mean? And making more
Neil's
M's.
upset that you're shorting SoFi. I don't know why. What happened? Everybody owns it in their long term. I personally don't, but.
Oh, that's true. I do not think my amount of shares is going to impact anybody's long-term account. Let me tell you, it's a pretty small position. I'm sorry.
We're gonna.
I apologize.
Spend the money. Yeah, he shorts Intel all the time because Intel can't live without government money. It needs us to prop it up all the time. Big Kyle Burdett looking for 500 on the SPY. Let's go! Shout out to you, my man. I told you I'd spend the money once. Adara was done dropping hot lines, and I did. Keeping an eye now on Meta as it is coming into that 506 area. So this has been a really strong name on the day, and let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. This is the top, this is the IB high, 506, almost on the dot. And then, look at this hammer, kind of a looking hammer candle, dips into 506.5. Look where VWAP is, 506 or 505.94, at least it's showing on my chart. So this came into that former area of resistance, current area of support. It's being assisted by the volume weighted average price, hanging out at these areas. So that's what I'll be looking for here if we're able to weasel our way into Meta. But I'd like a bit of better price at the volume weighted average price. It may not come down to my level, though. It may go without me here. So we'll see exactly what Meta does. But good look for Meta at these levels.
So you want to bet a price on Meta?
I want to bet on a price on Meta. There we go. I like that.
Also, Joanna Brewster here asking NQ VWAP bounce. So let's find. I am typing on my Bitcoin chart, so let's find the right chart. I want to keep you in place, Bitcoin, in case I want to trade any of your derivatives or pals. This is interesting. So we kind of get, I know everybody's VWAP is different, but I see what you mean. There's this little topping tail candle, and we're trying to make a bullish engulfing candle here on La Q's. Look at this, we have this kind of candle here, and also look where we come to. Almost that pre-market chop injured area, this 427s. We get a little bit lower than that. We have this wick to the downside. Then we come, and the next candle is trying to be a bullish engulfing, knocking on the door with the viciousness of that 9 EMA. I really want to see what we do here on the Qs. I was just looking at my SQs to see what I want to have. If we bounce here, and maybe I missed the opportunity, if we bounce at the bottom of this previous range, I want to go long here because I think, we're going to have to see. But also, like I said, I think it looks kind of bullish on the Qs. So I don't want to go short the Qs just because I'm going along the SQs, just because it looks bullish on the Qs. And I'm sorry, that broke my brain trying to translate between the inverse and the normal one. I apologize for everybody for that, to everybody for that. But yes, we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. Christopher Hallcomb echoing the VWAP bounce there. So yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see. But now, look, we're rejecting. We had the nice little bullish candle, but that's why we have to look at closing candles. Right now, we're having a little bit of a sell-off on the Qs. So now I think my SQQQ short idea would have probably, or SQQ long probably would have worked. And the bears are howling. Growling? The bears are growling. And Sean is there. We bounce bros, says Greystone. Yeah, we're going to have to see what kind of bounce and shake and bake we get here in this market. Shout out to Obi with the shake and bake. But yeah, I might have to go long these SQs because I think the market is heading to the downside.
Yeah, down. It's short 859 NVIDIA, Katina man. Short 182.30 AMZN. Yeah. She said 35. Zadar said 35. Now he's short 32. So good. Yay! It's a dollar club, baby. People be jamming up in this place. You know what I heard, Katina man, what I was reading? Nightclubs aren't what they used to be. Apparently there's like half of many as there used to be like in our day, apparently. BPI, I should be looking to the club master himself. BPI, where you been clubbing these days, BPI? Big Patty Ice, anything you're looking today at on crypto, Mara, anything like that? Anything you have for us today?
I like these levels now with Mara. I said that from that 1750 to 1450 range, you're gonna bounce on that. I think for the next few days. Just if you're in the 14s, I would say that's like a good entry. Okay. But then eventually, that moves down. We bumped from like the 1750 to 2150 range for like a week or so, and then we came down again, and we did the same from 2550 to 2150, right?
Yeah. And I just got to tell you guys that this guy's been telling me these levels, and they've been coming to fruition. You know, they don't come right away, but the levels that he's been telling me on Mara, because I was involved in it, they've all come to fruition.
The thing with Mara, that was the only thing you could trade before to trade Bitcoin, right? But now you have all these ETFs, you have everything like that, so why am I going to go crazy with a miner, right? So just be careful. Respect the levels.
And I want to add to BPI's spiel that I was reading a little interesting article today on MARA and all the other miners, to be fair, and they're all reeling to figure out new ways to make money because of the halving. So they're all trying to figure out different methodologies to stay in business. So we're going to have to see how these guys end up doing. I'm talking about URiot, CleanSpark, Hut 8, Mara, Marathon. So we'll keep eyes on that. But while we keep eyes on that, let's keep eyes on this Chilean nightmare. 150 has been coming in bigly, guys, chart, on Tesla right now, and has been coming in again and again, now breaking down into that 149.80-ish area. So Tesla has been bouncing off 150, but it's been putting in lower highs. So that level looks like it's giving up the ghost of that level now, as we see a lot of red come in here on the tape. A lot of selling on TSLA as the market curls right back down. You wouldn't know it, though, if you looked at Meta, because it's going right back up, baby, right into 508 and change of go. We just actually wicked off 509. So the market on the way down, but there are still names here that are stronger there.
Yeah, I'm happy that one of them on the day is not SoFi. I got out some profit at this SoFi. Please, this punch. Took about 2/3 of the position. We have a third. It is a piece. It is for a dream. I don't know where that dream ends quite right now. I haven't decided how long we're going to nap for in the SoFi position, but I am eyeing this 724 area because that was a little bit of chop and churn earlier. I want to see what we do here. But if it falls further, I don't want to, shoot myself in the foot a little bit and get out too early. So we're going to wait. It's on my side chart. It's on my mind. Also, speaking of Bitcoin with BPI's hot lines there, I do continue to like this IBIT short. I like that it's now below the 90 MA. I'm not getting involved yet because I want to wait and see for my point of entry here. But I don't mind this. NVIDIA or NVDL short I'm also considering. I know Sean is in this. Shout out to Sean. I think for me, I want to kind of make sure we have this lower high, and then I might get involved just because my style of trading, I'm a little bit more cautious. As Sean says, though, a scared trader is a deficient trader. So I don't want to be scared. I just want to make sure I have a point of entry allowed. Because as I said, my biggest issue with this NVDL the last time around is I got involved too early. So I want to make sure I get involved in a place I like, so that way I don't panic sell like I had in this NVDL earlier. No panic sell in NVDL. Oh, Kyle Burdett telling me to switch to the SoFi 15 minutes. Let's take a look at this. This is a nice. I mean, thank you, Kyle, for pointing out this 15-minute is even more bearish looking on SoFi. So happy to stay with this.
Trade, Adara.
Thank you very much. I mean, yeah, this is why we have a great community. People pointing out stuff that we necessarily wouldn't be looking at, so you can kind of get an opportunity to see what's moving. I've gotten a lot of really great range trade opportunities as well from other range traders in this chat. So always happy to be here. Shout out to everybody. What a market.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Sorry. I'm looking. No, it's all good. It's on me. I'm looking at VWAP here on AMZN, and I'm also keeping an eye. Still haven't forgotten about you, Tesla. 150 is still in play on TSLA, despite the fact that we have been wicking below it. Right back above it we go. But the reason I'm looking at AMZN at these levels is because we curled off aggressively off that 182. Not aggressively, but we had a rounded top. Shout out to the NOS boss. Off that 182.39 HOD, so you could say defended the half level, came in to that 181 1/3. So a nice move down there by $1. And now we're at the volume weighted average price and we're wicking into it. So looking to possibly curl back up here. But Amazon was a big down move on the day. And believe it or not, it actually recovered everything at its highs. And then now we're right back down kind of right at the opening print today on AMZN. So keeping an eye on that. What else we got? Yeah, that 150 on Tesla is the other thing. The other thing that I keep looking at here is the future. And the reason is, and you saw Adara astutely mention this, or somebody in the chat was mentioning it, I'm not sure, but we would keep bouncing off VWAP here on the NQ June contract. which is that 16.7, let's say 75, or in between 2/3 and 3/4. We keep bouncing off that level. That's 3 5-minute candles now that have all wicked off VWAP and then bounced right back up. So we'll keep an eye on that to see if, you know, it could foreshadow a larger market move here vis-a-vis the future, or vis-a-vis the Mag 7, excuse me. That's what I mean to say. So keeping an eye on both these bad boys. I'm talking about you, Tesla. I'm talking about you, Amazon. And yeah, we'll look to possibly get involved here. Dan, the man, M in 17,685 is the pivot for me today. 17,685. We're at that area exactly right now. I like that. That is the pre-market consolidation mid-range, Dan. Shout out to you. I see a lot of action there from around 8:20 a.m. till 9:30. So that was kind of like the midpoint of the pre-market consolidation before we got up there. Right back into that level today, Dan. So we'll see exactly how we end up resolving. But I see Tesla putting in a bit of a hammer candle here, as well as AMZN also curling back up off VWAP. What isn't strong, though, I got to tell you, is Apple. Apple looks awfully weak on the day. It is making lower lows while everything else is kind of trying to find its footing. Tough day today for Apple.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a tough day for NVIDIA, but if we keep projecting 37, somebody's going to keep shorting pops. And that somebody is also Sean, but I mean, I'm on NVDL, so Sean is shorting the big boy NVDA, but I will take NVDL if we keep projecting this area. So 37 for NVDL is going to be roughly this 858.50 area, a little more anticlimactic than I thought when I said it out loud. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. I like this NVDL short. I watched for the rejection a couple times. I'm going to take about 15 pennies on this. If we can kind of take it into 80s, I'm pleased as punch about that. If we decisively break into 70s or 37, I'm out. But also, now we are transitioning over to Neil. That was not a great transition. Let's see what the lesson of the day is all about.
Welcome to your lesson of the day, as always, brought to you by Real Trading. Real Trading, real gains, real access to liquidity. And if you want to get the best liquidity out there, sometimes there's an old saying, the best trades are the hard ones to get. If you're having trouble getting hit on the bid, then the stock is strong. If you're having trouble getting hit on the offer, the stock may be weak. Another way of thinking about that is the stock is trending in one way or the other. But that's an easy thing to do. How about when you've got 1,000 things out there that you can trade, and some of them are trending, some of them are not? How do you boil it down to what you should be executing on? It's good to have an overall idea, but sometimes relative strength and relative weakness is where you want to go. And I always try to talk about these things in a day where it really, really mattered. And this morning, it really mattered having a look at relative strength and weakness. Because if you came in with a relative short bias like myself, A, you were really happy at the open. B, on the way back up when you were looking for places to short, you really did want to be picking your spots. So I'm just going to get the lay of the land here for you with everyone's favorite NVIDIA. Yesterday, smoked. Today, now at the open, everything was tanking. So you're going to see a huge move down. Now, if you were shorting other names, I was short some other names here, but not NVIDIA. If you're shorting other names, you saw basically the same thing. Different degrees of flushes to the downside, and then you did have a bit of a reversal, a massive reversal once you got past that early morning flush. So we zoom it in here. You have NVIDIA making some nice higher lows off VWAP, coming into a crest. I did put a short on here, but look at what's happening in this stock. Not all chip stocks are created alike. So NVIDIA, during all of that, maybe one of the biggest flushes, and then there's a lower high. There's a good resistance level. You can short off here, you'd win. You short off here, you'd win. The third time, it probably doesn't work. It's not that that's bad. You'd be up if you were shorting this name. You go over to something like an AMD. What do you see? Flush at the open, lower high, but then higher high, holding VWAP. So between the two names, okay, NVIDIA was holding the same resistance level and coming down. AMD was holding higher lows and holding VWAP. So AMD a little bit stronger in that bounce. However, as both of these are testing highs or making higher highs and all that good stuff, there's something else happening. I think you always want to pay attention to this. When you're looking at any specific relative strength or relative weakness metric, Fine, AMD, NVIDIA is kind of easy. You could look at the ETF, you could look at the stocks, you could look at all of the other names in the group. You can look at the Qs if you're talking about tech. But you want to make sure, if you're sure about that thesis that you want to play weakness, today it was a bit of TSM down on earnings, then you want to try to find the real one that is bucking the trend. And I'm going to show you the perfect example of that relative weakness. Now remember, both of those two stocks were either making higher highs at those same times in the rebound in all of the chip names, or they were holding the same high and it was showing some sign of strength. Now, I'm not here to tell you that Micron didn't look like it was breaking out. It rebounded like everything else. It held VWAP at the same times. But when it came to the opening range top, Micron tagged it. I was actually taking a breakout of an even dollar level, which kind of like instantly failed. But it tagged that high and then reversed. And as AMD and Microsoft continue to test highs, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, fall apart. And at a moment when those other names are still trending to the upside, Micron is at the low of the day. And this is where you care about relative strength and weakness, because it doesn't even matter when you identified that Micron was the weakest of the chip names. It doesn't matter. You could have figured it out right away, great. You could have figured it out off the, like half an hour after that at 10:30, fine. You could have figured it out at 11 o'clock, that's good. Every single one of those entries is still going to be a better pullback trade than anything else you're looking at, even the ones that worked. And I'm in a few, I traded a bunch. But it doesn't matter. It wasn't this one, and this was hands down the stock in the sector that showed you the real trend down. And this is what we talk about all the time. A winning trade's a winning trade. But every single day a trader is trying to get better. That is your job number one. You win, how could I have won more? You lose, how could I have lost less? I traded X, maybe Y was better. What reason could I have had to trade Y? Because when you're observing all of those names, making those same highs and lower highs and all that good stuff, you could have seen one was unlike the other, and it was most definitely Micron. And you know what? Micron actually had a positive news today. But your job is to trade price action, and the price action showed you what's good. I'm going to give you a bit of a bonus because, you know, a couple of things I was looking at today in the other direction, because sometimes it's more fun to look at longs. You look at something like, I like the long in Amazon. I took it out too early, but if you look at it the other direction and everything was dipping, Amazon put in higher lows, it broke it out at about 10:30, and you can see it run the pre-market highs, right? So that's not bad. It showed some strength. It's not unlike the chip names. Google, another name, maybe a little bit better, dip, broke the pre-market highs, holding higher, didn't get through resistance. But when you're looking at all of the tech names, you know, look at Meta. Sometimes it's just obvious from the start. Fun wick there. Obvious from the start, and you don't have to hunt that far. Now, I showed you Micron, which was well worth it if by the first hour you realized, or even the first hour and a half, you realized it was the weakest of the chip names. It was worth it to be that patient, but with Meta, that was obvious right away. Sometimes as you're scanning, it never went down, it only went up, it only held VWAP. That was immediately the strongest stock. You don't always have to wait an hour to figure out which one of the group or which one in a sector or which one out of the big cap tech is going to be the one. Maybe you're trading oil names. It doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes it's obvious from the get-go. But you know what? It's not something you can find if you aren't looking. You can prefer to trade a single name. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are moments when, hey, you know what, this is working and I'm getting refills and all that stuff, but it's not working easily, but I like the overall theory. In that particular case, know the cohorts that you can go to, know the related names that you think you can express the trade on, and just have a look. And if they set up, execute there. I didn't do that on Micron today, so win or lose on any other chip names, they will not have been as good as what it was on the relatively weak Micron. And I can't stress it enough. All it takes is putting it up on a scanner, putting it up on your quote board, calling up a chart, and watching it as you were doing your trading. And you could have joined this trend almost halfway through the day, and now it's at the lows when everything else is still holding VWAP, still holding near highs. So that's the lesson of the day. Relative strength, relative weakness. Be patient at the open. Be willing to scan for it so that you can take advantage of the easier trend. Not just the trend, but the easiest trend out there where you don't have to fight it. As always, brought to you by Real Trading. Good luck in the markets.
Thank you very much, Neil. Excellent, informative, astute, and accurate as always. Neil, the real deal with Neil. Make sure to check that out every day at noon. We were a little bit delayed today because we were trading, we were doing things. So yeah, we do apologize for that. Let's get to the lesson du jour though, because we are talking about Bollinger Bands today within the context, obviously, of small cap trading, which is the theme of the week. So today's lesson explores Bollinger Breakouts, a strategy that utilizes Bollinger Bands to identify potential momentum shifts in small cap stocks. Specifically, Bollinger Bands are a great tool, guys, but remember, they don't predict the future, so use them alongside other indicators. We'll get to that other indicators at the end of the lesson. But as we always do, we gotta let you know what Bollinger Bands are because we always have newer traders joining us from all around the world, obviously. So Bollinger Bands consist of 3 lines, and I'll show you that on the chart in a moment. But what you should know is the first, and this is the middle line off which the top line and the bottom line are based. This is the simple moving average. It is an SMA. It is typically a 20 period, meaning 20 trading days that it bases its data off. In the center, this represents the average price over a chosen time period. In this case, it's 20 days. Then there's the upper band. And essentially, all you need to know about the upper band and the lower band is they're 2 standard deviations away, north and south, from that 20 period SMA. SMA means simple moving average. Again, if you're new, simple moving average is juxtaposed against exponential moving average, which more heavily weights recent price action. You could absolutely use an EMA in the middle for your Bollinger Band. There's no hard and fast rule that says you have to use SMA, okay? I'm just telling you what the defaults are. And the lower band, again, 2 standard deviations below the SMA, indicating the lower area of the price action volatility. And here it is. This is the actual, just a picture depiction, but let me bring you a live look at what Bollinger Bands look like, and maybe we'll use Tesla on the 5-minute and see exactly where Tesla's been doing on the Bollinger Bands. As you can see here, there are periods where the Bollinger Bands are very wide, the upper band and the lower band, they're very spaced apart, and then there are other areas where they get narrow. And that's part of the beauty. That's part of the use of Bollinger Bands. When they get wide and narrow, it means different things. We'll get to that in a second. But just make that initial key observation there. All right? Now, what we're talking about are the breakouts from the Bollinger Bands. The key to this strategy lies in how the price interacts with the bands. So we talked about the upper band. There's an upward breakout. This is when the price decisively breaks the upper band with a surge in volume. Breaks the upper band with a surge in volume. So you're going to have to look at the price action as well as the volume, excuse me. It might signal a potential breakout to the upside. And that's what we're looking for here. This suggests a surge in buying pressure and a potential momentum upswing. Likewise, there is a downward breakout. This, if the price breaks below the lower band with significant volume, it could indicate a breakdown to the downside. This suggests obviously strong selling pressure and the beginning of a potential downtrend. And here it is. The next 2 slides show this picture. We had kind of like a head fake here where we, just ever so briefly broke below the lower Bollinger Band. But look at the candle. It's a hammer candle, right? Where this is the hammer candle typically is indicative of buyers overwhelming sellers. There's some initial selling, and then it gets into the level that the buyers really like it, and they push the price right back up. And then that's kind of denoted by the long lower wick and very much a small body very much near the top of the candle. And then you can see the breakout through the upper band. Conversely, you get kind of a perfunctory break over here through the top, and then you get a decided break through the bottom. So keep your eye on how Bollinger Bands actually look IRL. But why are they important? So what are we using them for? So breakouts from Bollinger Bands can signal a change in market sentiment, and that's awfully important because if you're a trend-following trader, you need to be astutely aware of what the sentiment is at any one time. Also, a stock trading within the bands for a while might be consolidating before a significant price move. The breakout suggests a possible trend in the making. And as we've talked about on previous occasions, these long areas of consolidations could be areas of accumulation and distribution depending on where they appear on the chart. Are they at the low end of the range? If they are, then it's likely accumulation. If they're at the top end of the range, given the historical price action, it's probably a distribution. Not a hard and fast rule, but one to just have as a default there. And how do you use them? Let's talk about how to using. The market's crashing apparently, says the Katina man. So I'm going to have to pause for a second here just to make sure that what just happened? TQQQs. Yeah, I got out of that one real quick. Wasn't in that actually. Let me just make sure my meta. Yeah, so I got out of that meta one. So I have no open orders. Just making sure that I'm good to go there as the market tanks. All right, so we'll cover that as soon as we're done the lesson, but just keep in mind the market on the way down. All right, so using the breakouts effectively. Here's how to strengthen your Bollinger Band strategy. First, confirmation is key. Don't trade solely on the breakout of the upper or lower band, okay? Look for confirmation from the price action itself, for example, continuation patterns, ascending wedges. You want to see an ascending wedge possibly before the breakout of the upper band. A bull flag, a bull pennant, any type of continuation pattern showing that the trend is going to continue to the high side, okay? And you could also keep your eye on trading volume. Is the breakout through the upper band accompanied by above average volume, or is it, a weak breakout? So keep your eye on volume. It's often quite telling. These are all things that you have to kind of add in together. And you also need to be aware of false breakouts. I kind of showed you a picture there earlier where we had a quick wick below the lower band, but the candle ended up closing like a hammer candle. And so that is often indicative of a false breakout, right? So be aware of false breakouts where the price briefly touches the band, but quickly reverses. Use stop loss orders in those situations to mitigate risk. And volatility matters when you're looking at Bollinger Bands. Consider the Bollinger Band width. I kind of foreshadowed that a little bit earlier. A wider band indicates higher volatility and the breakouts are less reliable. So if the bands are super wide to begin with, it's showing you that the stock is already volatile. So you should probably apply less weight to the breakout of the upper or lower band during these periods of high volatility. However, when the bands contract and you have that kind of sideways or even a channel where the volatility is really dropping low, and then you get a break of the bands with volume, that might add more credence to the breakout. So when everything's super volatile and you have a break of the Bollinger Bands, be a bit more suspicious, but when it's awfully consolidative and you have that break, it's usually a little bit better. Now, combining Bollinger Bands with breakouts. So for a more robust strategy, combine Bollinger Band analysis with other technical indicators. And the first one we're going to talk about is the relative strength index. We've been talking about this all week, as we should be. So RSI, or known as the relative strength index, if you missed the lesson yesterday, just go back and watch it. We cover RSI fully. It can help you identify overbought or oversold conditions. A breakout from the Bollinger Band alongside an RSI moving out of an extreme territory could strengthen the signal. Here's what I mean by that. So say you're in oversold territory below 30 on the Bollinger Bands, and then you get a break of the upper band to the high side. Simultaneously, while you get the break of the upper band, you're also getting RSI coming out of 30, we'll say in the 20s. Let me show you exactly what I mean here by using the chart. So I've got both up at the same time. The teal lines are the upper and lower bands, and the yellow line in the middle over here, that's the SMA. The lower yellow line all the way down, zigzagging here, that's RSI. So imagine for a second that the RSI was sub 30, and then we had a break of this upper band over here on big volume, and then the RSI came out of that sub 30 territory to print like say 40s. So you'd have volume, check, price action, check, upper Bollinger Band break, check, RSI coming out of oversold territory, check. So you're adding to the list of different things that are showing you that this breakout is legit, okay? So again, it's the balance of the evidence. It's not any one thing that we always look at. Keep that in mind, okay? So that's the RSI. And then there is support and resistance as well. So look for breakouts that occur near support for uptrends or resistance levels for downtrends. This adds confluence to your trade ideas. And by that I mean, for example, say we were super sideways within a tight range on the Bollinger Bands, say at 195 or 197 on Apple, okay? And then we all know that 200 level on Apple is a key area of resistance, and it goes back months and months and months. All of a sudden, you have a break of the upper band conflating with that 200 level. So you know that 200 level was definitely resistance, and you know the upper band was super narrow to the lower band, so it wasn't volatile, so that breakout can add a little bit more credence. So keep your eye on that. Breakouts of the upper or lower band at key areas of both support and resistance. And remember, Bollinger breakouts are probabilities. They are not guarantees like everything else in technical analysis. Always practice good risk management. Use stop loss orders at key areas of support and resistance, and backtest your strategies. Either backtest it using the Trade Idea software that allows you to backtest up to 3 months, or trade in the sim. Make sure that your strategies, as you're learning them, are actually working IRL. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for that lesson. We did have a bit of a move here in the market. Yeah, I like, so Dan Emmons kind of, I know like we had like these 2 5-minute candles were pretty big. We had that big move down, trying to curl back up, now kind of curling back to the downside. Dan Emmons saying that the distance is just basically saying nothing is crashing. So I think it all depends. Hopefully no one got too chopped up in that, I will say, because there was a little bit of chop and churn. That's for sure here. We dropped from about 526.80 down into 525. So about $1 in this one candle on the Qs, then came back, now kind of falling down again. So certainly bit of a short-term range type move. Someone's grumpy about that. Grr. But yeah, so I got involved. I did end up getting long the SQs, so short the Qs here. I missed that first move, but I said, Adara, we're going to have to try to get in order to, if we bounce off that previous area of support, or sorry, resistance. We didn't, but I added just in case. I said, let's add again at support. It worked out. If we break below into this 80s, I'm going to have to say no. But right now, working out okay. This market is a little bit chop and churn. But yeah, we did fall pretty swiftly, but then we kind of came back also pretty swiftly. Right now, it's a little bit rangy in a pretty intense way. So I think I might try to get a little something going on here with all of these ranges. I'm still in SoFi, in the SQs, in the SQQs. Let's see, yeah, sorry guys for that we kind of missed that movement there with the lesson of the day, but thank you very much, Sharif, for delivering that lesson. And I see you have hopped into the Cybertruck.
Yeah, I added by accident instead of taking out, so I got to take out some here. We're long, okay, so yeah, sadly I screwed up my cost basis there by adding to it at a level I didn't want to add. But I like the 150 general hold here on TSLA. We'll see how this one does. I'm just going to need a moment to organize here after the lesson, Adair.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think at different time frames too as well. I'm just reading some of the chat, people looking at different, sometimes looking at different time frames, zoom out kind of on the action that we had. So I'm curious to see what the 15 looks like on the Qs. Yeah, so the
Katina Mint's still short in NVIDIA.
Sean's still short in NVIDIA. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so this continued kind of move down on the SQs. Yeah, you're right. I guess when you move back into the 15, it is a little bit less of a starker look, perhaps. I definitely want to work, and this is one thing I want to work on throughout my trading, is looking at some, when in doubt, zoom out, as Neil says, right? Look at these wider time frames. That's something I definitely need to work on. And I think especially when Kyle Burdett mentioned earlier, like the 15 on the SoFi here being a pretty nice bearish look, which is why I am still in this. A little bit of chop and churn, but definitely ready to see what else happens here. The market is open till 4. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just reading the chat here. But yes, it is open until 4. We have an auction coming up in 17 minutes. I'm going to get that ready. The tips. I've noticed Financial Juice kind of can sometimes get those auction numbers pretty quickly. So I'm going to have that loaded up to see what happens there. I will keep eyes on that for everybody. and see what's happening. We are ready for that tips number. Is there anything else anyone is kind of looking at to see what's going on? Because I want to know what everybody's looking at here in this market. We all want all the smoke, and I'm so happy to be trading live. I ran into Brian Coles this morning at the coffee machine, and he said, do you find you're kind of more excited and engaged now that you're live? And I was like, yeah, I think a little bit, right? Because you have money on the line. The stakes are real. The intensity is there. You know, we are brought to you by Real Trading, and there is definitely real trading happening in these here markets. If you want to go a couple pennies higher, SQQs, I'd be pleased as punch with that. I'm trying to get back into this NVDL because I do like that we rode below that 90 MA. I might have missed the boat on this one. Shout out to Sean for killing it with this trade. I want to join, and I do want all of the smoke. How goes it with you?
Good. Long AMZN at VWAP. I know the Qs are going down. I'm just trying to catch Amazon at the VWAP dip. Where are we long? We're long 41s. Let's see if this level holds up. Also long Tesla at 150. Looking for that 150 level to hold up. It's been kind of ranging all day, to be honest with you. So we'll see what we get with both of these trades. Really nothing doing on them at the moment. Where are we long? Let's just go over here. So for profit taker, we'll see what we get here on TSLA. A bit of a longer trade at 150 on Tesla, to be quite honest with you. I didn't anticipate that we would be doing this dance for this long. I thought we would break up or lower below those levels at one point, but it seems as if we're kind of hanging out at these levels all day here on Tesla. So we'll try to play the range here. That is until I guess, you know, it breaks down below that level. I'm going to probably get out if it breaks down below 60. That is kind of like the low end of the range there. So we'll see exactly what we get on these bad boys here. I also want to short AAPL, but Apple is about 7 cents away from its low of day at the moment. So it's trading at 167.41. The low of day is 43. So let's put in a possible dip trade here. I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, so Jameson was mentioning there is some kind of geopolitical news. I'm not seeing anything on my feed, but I'm keeping my eye out for that, so I just wanted to address that. It's not anything that I have seen coming up on my feed right now, and I did just check. Yeah, so I think I might, yeah, thank you to Sean for mentioning as well the TQQs. I might switch to that. I think, because as was kind of put out here as well in the chat, it's a little bit confusing to be long. I'm short the market, but it shows up long on my position, and I'm like, oh, going long. So, and on the position board too, it's a little bit weirder. So thank you for bringing that up, Sean. I think I'm going to get my first part of my position out here. We're going to save. We have 2 more B quarters ready, so I have no problem taking some profits and letting everything else ride to the downside on the market. Yeah, it is. It'll be easier to just short the Qs. But yeah, so what's happening here? I was still looking at some of these Bitcoin names. Let's see what IBIT's up to. I might get back into a bit of IBIT. This range, I missed this range. We reject at this 3640s. Here we go. Are things going? Things are going. Yeah, we popped higher, or we popped, see, this is, yeah, we popped lower on the Qs. So this has been, yeah, nice continued move down here on the Qs. What else? That Microsoft actually really interesting here. We had a little bit of a what looks like it could have been consolidating into a bear flag. Then we pop right back up, come down. I think if we break this low of 408, this could get really spicy on Microsoft. I don't think it'll be a soft move to the downside if we break down from here. Let me put it that way. And yes, I will still be punting even as these markets get extra intense. How are you doing? You just got out of everything. Yeah,
I just got out of everything. But like I'm trying to set up here, but you're throwing it to me too quickly.
Oh, sorry, I can slow down. I can keep talking. I wanted to make.
It's all good. I'll take Apple 167 at these levels. That is what we're looking at. What a big move down on AAPL here. 167.01. What do we get geopolitically? Because Apple's absolutely tanking down. Let's find out. Let's go over to the other website over here. Let's see if there's anything happening afoot. Nothing from the world, I guess. Let's see over here. Anything? Yeah, okay. We're talking, but still weighing a response. Nothing that I'm seeing geopolitically yet, but you can see the market absolutely react to everything to the downside here. What a big move down. 17.6 incoming, baby. On the future, it is on the way down. Breaking through the volume weighted average price is the futures, and basically Amazon as well. Meta, which was the strongest name on the day, no doubt, on the way down as well. It is at 507 and change after making that big move into 511. So big move down for a lot of these names here. Good trades, guys, for the short side. I see you guys there yelling. Yes, I see you, Z. Can I get a shout out for the Apple 165 hitting by Friday? I'll take that. Shout out to you. Big Kyle Burnett. Spy got dumps like a truck. Shout out to you, my man. Freddie, the friendly guy. What is he talking about? Yeah, great trades today for sure. Loving these short levered ETFs. Shout out to you, my man. Everybody printing there. Shout out to you. Happy for everybody.
Yeah, this has been, what a really interesting day. Brad Gober was mentioning earlier today in the chat, a couple minutes ago, like there was definitely a lot of range opportunities. So that was IBIT kind of rangy. I need to pay more attention to IBIT. Right now, trying to continue to piece out of this SQQQs, and Sean is $8 in the money in NVIDIA. Or sorry, he's out of NVIDIA, but he did have a cool $8 club there. So congrats to Sean on that one. Money, 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 as Adam DeLuz is saying it here in this chat. Is there a reason for this movement? Asked Sebastian. I'm not seeing anything right now, but thank you, Darwin, for putting this in the chat, because I had just seen this I just saw this right before you typed this. NVIDIA and Meta-related news. NVIDIA announcing that it is optimizing across all of its platforms to accelerate the Meta Llama 3. So I think right now it's a Llama red pajama for Meta, but it could be a green pajama in a little bit after this nice news there. I think this just might be a case of the overall market movement is so strong that we're not really seeing that individual reaction to what is pretty positive news, you would think. Meta and NVIDIA in cahoots for AI, for this Llama acceleration. I think this is like a really nice look. But let's kind of see what happens here. Long USO says, Jameson, I'm just trying to look at some different stuff here. Let's take this is on the AM. Let's see, Long USO. Okay, yeah, this is a nice look. Right now we're kind of topping and turning, but USO not really feeling the heat from the rest of the market, which is decidedly to the downside. Honestly, USO, you're so rangy. Hello. I'm like talking sweet to this stock. I like the bottom here, the 79.30 up to 79.50. This is actually a nice look. Congrats to you and your long there, Jameson. Really, really nice trade there. Right now, I have 2 beak wetters left for my SQQQs. One of them we are about a penny away for. I'm looking for 11.95s. Then hopefully we will just skyrocket up here. Where are the NQ? There we go. SQQQs. Let's go here.
Great trade, Adara. Shout out to you. That is a great trade. Breaking through aggressively the volume weighted average price on the NQ and headed down into 600. It's kind of like a local low here. You can tell on the future right now. We haven't been at these levels since about 10. Yeah, about 10 this morning when we got off that 17.5 and a half touch. So great move down there for the shorts on the future. Keeping an eye on some of these other names. Let's have a look at what these small caps are doing. CGC still holding up. DJT above 30. It's been kind of trying to hold the volume weighted average price. GOTU, this one is the one that we were talking about earlier that was sparsely traded. It is having a good day as well. BPTH is kind of broken down quite aggressively now below the volume weighted average price, so nothing really to do there. I'm going to wait for that 17.6 break or take. We'll see if it makes it. Well, we're going to do it right now. It looks like on the way down on the future, baby. Someone's fist pumping. How's it look over there on that side of the desk?
I'm happy. We're going okay with the SQQs. I can't believe we're like 17 pennies in the money here on this. And then also, let's look at SoFi, which I was just saying, shout out, thank you to Kyle Burdett for this SoFi. I got part of this out here at that earlier area of support, 730. We have a piece for the dream, and right now, like I said initially, I'm going to be watching what we do at 724, so that was an earlier area of support and resistance. But with this overall market headed to the downside, we might get a little bit more than that. So I want to see what we do here on SoFi. In terms of profit targets for the SQQs, because I just realized I didn't go over that, I will be very curious to see what we do here at 1206, because that is around the high of day, and it's going to be near the low of day for the Qs. So if we break below that with a viciousness, I'm going to stay in. If we struggle, I'm going to get out. So really right now, we're not trying to commit too much. We have ideas, but we also want to make sure we're making the most of the profit. And I say we, sorry, I do mean me. But also I remember that Neil was saying this in a couple weeks ago in the lesson of the day. It's important to have a plan, but also be willing to adapt within reason if you need to, right? So I will be watching that 1206, but I don't want to set an order just in case I decide I want to stay, right? If we break below 1190s though, that's going to be where I have to leave. I don't want to see that break below VWAP. I will be taking profit here at 1190s. I already have about 80% of the position out, so happy I took some profits there. That was my biggest thing I noticed yesterday as well, where I just wasn't giving myself a large enough position sizes to be able to piece out. So even if there would be a profitable move, I'd wait for a little bit lower and then I ended up getting moved out of the trade, right? So I think let's see what's happening. Thank you to Jay Lee. Yeah, let's dump these. Let's damp it. Damp. It was so funny. Well, Neil was doing the lesson of the day. Sharif went damp, or bamp, or damp, and then Sean also went damp. So it's pretty funny. We're all part of the pamp and damp camp over here on how to trade.
Yes, yes, very good. Long META, trying to hold this 507 area. We'll see if this one jumps up, but like all the while knowing that we're at 17.6. So maybe I'm cruising for a bruising over here. Keeping an eye on 850 as well on NVDA. That's where also it happens to be the volume weighted average price, or a little bit close to it. We broke 167 on Apple, so I definitely didn't want to take that long. So keeping an eye on that. Also keeping an eye on that 408-ish area on MSFT. That's kind of what I'm looking at there. I'm looking at the gap scanner as well, my chart or my scanner to see if anything's afoot on these markets, and I'm not seeing anything come in right now. ALRN, the #1 gap scanner for me right now, up 45%, but really not doing a whole lot of volume on these, at least not right now anyway. So keeping an eye on some of these names. We'll see if we get that 17.6 bounce. ZST sucked everyone into going long and dumped it. Wow, yeah, that's just how these markets are, man. That's just the way they kind of work. John says, or Solo Chris, so pamp and damp, yeah, that's kind of how we do things around here. Keeping an eye on the possible long at these levels so we don't get caught too offside here, thinking short all the way. But yeah, all the while knowing that 17.6 was quite aggressive in its descendant era.
Well, the one thing too I want to keep in mind, and this is why I took out some profit here as well in the SQs, we're kind of coming into a previous area of support here on the Qs that we bounced off here around 10.05. Look, we did technically, if you want to use this kind of area, that is sort of where we bounced. So that does make me cautious, and we're seeing kind of a similar trend here on, I just typed not enough Qs, the SQs, right? So we had this move up here into 1198, and then we sold off a little bit. So I want to watch and see what happens. Like I said, I don't want to leave this trade too early, but I also don't want to end up bamboozling myself by staying in. I'm eyeing 1190 to see what we do there, and I am looking at that level because we did have some chop and turn around there earlier, including on our way back into this movement here. So yeah, I was saying Killer Camp, not seeing anything. Also, I have to shout out this comment from Louis Tortora. That damp sounds like a dying cat, Adara. And honestly, you are not wrong. You know, Sharif and I always laugh about this. I changed the way that he says the pamp and damp accidentally because I can't say it right. Like I did it for one of our reels and I was like, pamp it. And now that is how it's said. So I am just not capable of saying pamp and damp the Sharif way. So that is what happened there. Still in SoFi. SoFi, so good, as Sean once said, and I really enjoyed. So we're going to stay in that trade. I'm looking for some other opportunities, though. I don't want to be involved in too much, but I also want to make sure I'm making the most of this market if I can. IBIT. That wasn't even, I just said the name of the ticker. But I want to watch and see what we do here. I liked that 36.30 to 36.40 kind of range earlier. I want to see what happens if we break below, but right now I'm seeing kind of higher lows, a bounce off that 36.1. I'm not going to get involved until I see a clear signal, and I think I definitely want to clear out of the SQs before we have our bond auction in 3 minutes, because I don't know what way that's going to go. About that. And even if we go lower, I think I'd be more comfortable if I was just out of the position before we do, right? Yeah, because, and I mentioned this before as well, because I've been in trades that ended up hitting and you end up benefiting from the bond auction, but it still doesn't feel as sweet as it would have had it just been natural movement, I think sometimes, at least for myself. And maybe that's just because I overthink a lot, but I would rather just, take what I can get here out of these SQs. So we're going to give this, what time is it? 12:57. We're going to give this about 2 more minutes, around 12:58, 12:59. Wherever we are, we're going to get what we get, and we're not going to get upset. So that's where we're at right now. Are you good with Meta? I can
Yeah,
still. I just wanted to
I'm
make sure.
fine. Yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
How's
Just
it
keeping
going?
an eye on this. Well, we're like break even, a couple of pennies out of money here and there. Keeping my eye on really 17.6. That's the whole thing here. I think if we all tank if this 17.6 definitely doesn't hold up. We're holding up at it right now. We haven't quite made our way down as of late into 17.6, but Meta is still holding above the volume weighted average price. So I'm just trying to pack my patience with respect to that. It and Google as well as NVDA are really the only two that are above VWAP at the moment. So we'll see exactly what we get there. But Meta is putting in some lower highs. Let's be real about it. So this one could end up giving up the ghost. I could have taken out some profits there through the break of 508, but chose to hold on to the remaining balance of it. Let's see what else is moving in small cap world. Let's have a look over here. Yeah, so DJT continuing to hold above 30 bucks. It did have a nice break into 31 and a quarter there. CGC just printed day's highs, 803 there. Good look. BPTH also trying to curl back up into the volume weighted average price. So that is not a bad look either. Holo and MLEC are untradeable at these levels, but we're going to have to wait and see exactly what we get on the market because we are headed right back down into 17.6. So I'm going to have to get out of my Meta trade here as we break down into that level. So not a good trade here on META. Going to have to rinse and repeat on some better trades here. Jameson says MSTR look weak to you. Let's have a look at MSTR. Bring it up. I haven't even had eyes on Bitcoin today, so not exactly sure what it's been doing. Let's pull up MSTR. Well, I mean, it's kind of dancing a little bit here at the volume weighted average price. It's at an interesting area, though, because this was like the afternoon high that we got into around 12.25, 12.35, and we seem to be basing around there at the moment, 12.36. It seems as if you got a bit of a double bottom there, but I wouldn't be too quick to want to jump into this, just owing to the fact that the market really is making, it's continuing to make lows at these levels. So packing my patience, we'll see what kind of trade we can get later in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any world news. I'm seeing some people mention some stuff in the chat. I'm not seeing anything. So keeping an eye on that for sure. I'm not getting anything on the auction yet either, but we're waiting. I did get out of the SQs heading into the auction. I'm still holding on to some SoFi, really small position there, just kind of waiting to see what happens because I don't really have a reason to leave my SoFi, and I think SoFi a little bit less reactive here than maybe some of the rest of the markets. We're going to wait and see what happens. Pleased as punch so far with these trades, and I'm trying to, yeah, oh, no, that's the 4 week still. Sorry about that. I saw the 4 week and I was like, woo. But yeah, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. The SPY is green, says Joanna Brewster. ES is green. Yeah, we're slightly positive here on the S&P 500. And this is interesting. If we want to compare this to the Qs, and I'll pull up my Q side chart to show what I mean, look at both of them coming and bouncing off of previous support. This is really interesting to me. We had this previous support here at 425s on the Qs, and then around 500.80 on the SPY. So I think that's very fascinating indeed how these two do sometimes mirror each other in interesting ways. Right now, though, certainly both of them finding some support. We are positive on the SPY. About time to long, says Elon. Yeah, we'll have to find out how long that lasts, should it? But yeah, shout out to you, Elon. Waiting and seeing what happens here with these auctions. What's everybody else looking at here? I want to find out. Buy the deep, saying major volatility incoming. Yeah, I think with that auctions, we know those can be a little bit of a shake and bake for the market, to use an Obiism. I want to see what happens. I also not getting involved right now until I know what's going on with that auction, but Tesla. And I'm going to be looking at TSLL for this, getting rangy in a way that I kind of like with regards to that top of 584, bottom of 577. If we're talking TSLL, if we're talking TSLA, we're talking that 150.40 to 149.60 area. So definitely something I want to keep an eye on. Chuck of all trades saying the SPY will hit 497. I think really we'll have to wait and see what happens. We did get those auction numbers here though. 5-year bid to cover 2.580 versus prior of 2.55. 5-year tips high yield 2.42% versus the previous of 1.71. So higher across the board here. Higher for longer, says Jerome Powell, and higher say these bonds. Yeah.
Holy, I got scared there for a second.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's all good. Keeping an eye on, yeah, I guess still same thing, 17.6. I don't feel like we got much of a move from these from this bond auction. I feel like we haven't really reacted to it quite yet. 17.6, keeping an eye on that. Nothing much other than that for me to say. That's kind of what I'm looking at here. Tesla getting a nice bounce up right through 150 again, coming into the volume weighted average price. This could be an interesting short here at 150 and 2/3. That's where the VWAP is hanging out. For me, also keeping an eye on Meta at VWAP as well. That area is at 506 and 1/3. 408 for whatever reason holding up here on Softy, and that's been a level that's been kind of like a rinse and repeat most of the day. Did break below 408 at times, but that has been an interesting level. I remember we were trading 420 on Softy, and that's kind of like come and gone by almost $12 here. So let's switch into MSFT on the NQ and see if we are going to hold this 412 area. I'm still waiting for the market to react to the auction. I feel like we still haven't gotten that reaction. Usually you get like a nice wake up or down or something like that. Just, yeah, not seeing it quite yet here. Oftentimes it is delayed. I mean, at times I feel like it's been like five minutes, maybe even a little bit longer that we've been waiting for the result of the auction to kind of be felt in the market. Still not seeing anything here, or it's a very subdued reaction, one of the two. So I can't really tell, to be quite honest with you, what we're doing right now on the market, but I just know that we are above 17.6. I'm very inclined to go long if at 408, if we get a nice hold here on the market after the auction. So keeping an eye on that. Dan Emmons, remember when I said 17.865 was a pivot? Once lost, tanked, okay? We'll keep an eye on the 100-point level. You have your way of doing things, Dan. I have my way of doing things. I'm keeping an eye on the 100-point level. I want to see if it breaks or holds after the auction. I'm also keeping an eye on NVDA. The Katina Man absolutely killing that short off that 860 top. It's now at 850 and just above the volume weighted average price here, which for me on my charts about 848.5. So we'll see if this one can break in or break below the volume weighted average price or whether it starts curling at these levels. So keeping an eye on these markets. Let's see what we get, baby.
Yeah, I'm shorting Stressel. We are taking the Stressel to the downside, and I say that because we're kind of coming to that previous area. We're backing off a little bit. There's a lot of things moving in a lot of different ways right now that I'm trying to keep my eye on. I also was looking at NVDA because, look, we had that previous support earlier that was also an interesting pre-market area, 852. Then we dip a little bit lower to the downside, so gave up some support. I might be interested in shorting this off the 90 MA, but I think right now the Tesla is a little bit more interesting to me. And so the area I'm looking at for TSLA, I was mentioning this earlier, on TSLA it's about 150.40 to 149.60, so about an 80 penny range. It's about a 7 penny range if we're talking about his little sister, TSLL. Your base is going to be about 577. That's where I'm looking to take profit, risking up into that earlier double bottom of support. Well, it's not perfect double bottom, but it was support twice earlier, 587. So we're risking 3 pennies to 4 pennies, looking to make about 7. So I'm pleased as punch with this trade. Let's go, Tesla. If you'd like to let me enter the Model 2, I'd be pleased as punch. I'm actually going to try to get into 83s because I think I'm not going to get 84s. And I do have a bit of a tendency to be a little bit too conservative, and I'm a little too scared to enter. But as Sean says, you know, a scared trader is a deficient trader. If I like something, I want to get involved. SoFi, still falling to the downside here. Hanging out near VWAP, I would like a decisive break towards VWAP because, like I said, this will be my decision point around 724. That was the earlier pre-market area of chop and turn. So I do want all the smoke, but this will I'll really understand if it heats up a little bit more here. Let's wait and see. We lost that analogy somewhere midway through. That's cool. I'm getting just my Tesla up on my side chart. Really excited to see what this market has to bring. Also, I don't know why I was thinking about this, but have we talked about the fact that, well, Red Lobster's apparently filing for bankruptcy?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's crazy.
Sad.
Apparently because of the unlimited shrimp.
Oh, that's sad.
I don't even know why I was thinking. I mean, I like the unlimited shrimp deal. Like, my friend and I will go to Red Lobster for the unlimited shrimp. But yeah, I just was thinking about that in the world of random business news. So that's a little unfortunate for them. Hopefully that is all figured out because right now I guess they're a little bit lost at sea. There with that bankruptcy. Also, that Red gifting a Trader TV Live membership, shout out to you. That also reminds me, there was a super chat earlier that came during Neil's lesson of the day, so I wasn't able to get to it. Sorry to R6FX for the wait here. Member for 18 months, so shout out to you. 18 months on the stream, wow. Thanks, TTVL team. Thank you to you, R6FX. we always love everybody's support here. We're ready to make these markets rumble to the downside. I am in 2 shorts, and there's also a wrapper 2 short. So let's wait and see what happens here. I'm ready to get some movement to the downside.
All right, well, we'll wait a little bit on that lesson, but let your trades manifest a little bit there. Let's keep looking at, well, I'm seeing bottoming tail candles right now on the future. So could we pump up here? And I'm very interested in shorting TSLA at the volume weighted average price. So here we go, 150.62 incoming here on Tesla, and it has been below VWAP since 11:30. So we're going on an hour and a half now. It has not been able to break that level. So keep your eye on that bad boy as, yeah, it's been a tough year for Tesla so far. I added another 5 shares of Tesla today in my account, baby, at 150. And it's been, yeah, not good. Thank God I'm only adding 5 shares at a time. Sorry, Red Lobster, but you said unlimited shrimp, and Big Kyle took it seriously. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. Yep, Big Kyle, you're making your point. There ain't no problem. They shouldn't have put it if they couldn't handle the heat, right? So we'll have to keep eyes on that. Let's load up the TSLA. Oh, we have the TSLA chart. So it looks like we did get a wick into that 150.60, and that's where the volume weighted average price is hanging out right now. Coming back off these levels, though, keep your eye on TSLA. Also, the NVDA came into the volume weighted average price and got a little bit of a bounce here, about $1 or so off that, but still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red 5-minute candles in a row, and it would have been more. It would have been 8 had it not been for this one looking topping tail green candle here. But right now, getting a little bit of support is NVIDIA at VWAP. Tesla now curling back up into that VWAP area as well from the south side. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm very interested in shorting here, especially if we break through 17.6. We're still above that right now. They wanted all the smoke and they got it, says Big Kyle. You are right. I like it. Sharif, first you said long Tesla and now short. Yeah, the market, it changes its opinion, and as the market changes, I have to change mine. So keep an eye on that. Also, Amazon came into that 180 area, which was very interesting as well. Earlier, it had a nice double, or you could even make a case, triple bottom here at this 180 area. So this could be a very interesting area on Amazon about 20 pennies from now, but make sure you are using sound risk management strategies, as this is called the roundy top. The NOS boss would be loving this right now. Amazon aggressively down through the volume weighted average price, now negative on the day, about 0.2%. Likewise with Meta, also down on the day. This one had a decent area, and we tried to get in with this 506 area here on Meta, owing to this hammer candle, which was an obvious level of support earlier. And then we had VWAP as well. And I liked this area earlier as well, this top, the IB high on Meta, but it did not, alas, did not hold as the future gave up the ghost. And now we have officially given up that 17.6 level, as we are now below it. 17.581 was that low end of the dip over here, as we now print in the 90s on the NQ. So it looks like we are giving up 17.6, and we could be headed down.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, I'd be pleased to punch if we head to the downside. I am ready to get the lesson started here. I just have my eye on my Tesla and my SoFi, but everything's good to go there in terms of all set up. I do, though, want to quickly answer this question here from Shift Fall, asking about shorting. So basically, when you go long, it's because you think the market's going to go to the upside, right? So you're trying to get involved buying low or selling higher, or buying high, selling higher, right? You're getting involved with the idea that it'll go up. In shorting, you're getting involved, you'll borrow shares basically with the intention of the stock going lower, and then you'll buy it back for cheaper. That's what, so it's basically the opposite. When you go long, it's because you think the stock will be going up. Short is because you think it'll be going down. I hope it'll make sense. It was something that took me like a bit to understand for sure when I first entered the markets there. So we always, yeah, I mean, like, it's really good community. We're always down to answer questions, and that's what we're all about, down to trade. But we're also about lessons. So here, Bollinger Breakout lesson today, not Neil's lesson of the day, but it's our lesson today. So this is basically, we have to start with what Bollinger Bands are. So they are 3 lines. The first one is going to be a simple moving average, or an SMA. It's going to represent the average price over a chosen time period. So whatever time period you want to look at, that SMA is fine. I guess it's a little bit fractal then. We also have an upper band, which is going to be 2 standard deviations above the SMA, which indicates higher area of volatility. And then you have your lower area of volatility, which is going to be 2 standard deviations below the SMA. So here's one example. This is actually BlackBerry. Oh my God, BlackBerry at 24. But yeah, so you have this upper band here, the lower band, and your 20-period SMA. And so then everything else that's happening in this blue is what's happening in between the Bollinger bands. So what about a Bollinger breakout? So there's kind of some keys to this strategy. Two parts. There's an upward breakout, so that's going to be when the price decisively breaks above the upper band with a surge in volume. And that can signal a potential breakout to the upside, which suggests a surge in buying pressure and the potential for momentum upswing. You also have breakdown, so that's going to be on the other hand here. If the price breaks below the lower band with significant volume, which indicates a breakout to the downside. This suggests stronger selling pressure and a potential downtrend. So basically, you can look at where we're moving in relation to the Bollinger Bands to see what direction the market may be headed or your asset might be headed. So here's one example. You have the Bollinger Bands, pretty fair distance apart. Then you start to get them tighter and tighter. You have a fake out breakout or fake out breakdown here below the lower band, and then we spring to the upside, breaking above the Bollinger Bands, showing that we have a true breakout to the upside. Now, here's another example as well. This is going to be an example of a breakdown. So you have, again, that narrowing of the bands and a dip below that lower band. So I think that you have the squeeze, the compression between the bands, and then the break to the downside or upside. So that's the look on Bollinger breakdowns. But why are they important? Well, breakouts from Bollinger Bands can signify a change in market sentiment. So if you have a stock trading within the bands for a while, it might be consolidating, and then you'll have a significant price move. So a breakout will suggest a potential trend in the making. But how do you use them effectively? There's a couple little tips and tricks to help impact and strengthen your Bollinger Band strategy. So confirmation is going to be key here. You don't want to rely solely on the breakouts. You want to look for confirmation from price action itself, like through continuation patterns and increased trading volume. You also want to think about false breakouts because they can exist. It's going to be when the price briefly touches the band but quickly reverses. And so you can kind of mitigate some of that risk by using stop loss orders. We always talk about risk management here, and it's certainly going to be important, especially if we're talking small caps this week and fake out breakouts. Volatility is also important to keep in mind here too. You might want to consider the Bollinger Band width because a wider band will indicate higher volatility, which might also be a sign of a less reliable breakout. How do you combine Bollinger Band breakouts? So there's a couple different technical indicators you could look at here too. RSI, if you use a Bollinger breakout with the RSI, can help you identify overbought or oversold conditions. So if we have the breakout with the RSI moving out of extreme territory, that can strengthen the signal of the breakout or breakdown. Support and resistance also really key to keep in mind here because you might want to look for breakouts that occur near support in uptrends or resistance levels in downtrend to add confluence to your trading idea. Some things to keep in mind though, Bollinger breakouts are probabilities, they are not guarantees. You always want to make sure you're practicing good risk management, so make sure you're sizing appropriately using stop loss orders, and make sure you backtest your strategy using historical data to understand the effectiveness before risking real capital. And that's why I feel, as always, very grateful that I was able to trade in the sim, so now I'm more comfortable making trades in the live. Also, thank you so much, Willis Addison, for your $2 super chat. Netflix, nice pullback from 618. Scalp into low of day, money bag emoji, down chart emoji. Let's take a look at NFLX for Willis Addison. Yeah, ooh, 618. Okay, nice. 618 to low of day. You took about $6. You're in the $6 club right now there, Willis Addison. Congrats to you. What a move to the downside. Lower highs, lower lows. It'll be really interesting. We'll have to watch out, put it on our watch list, these earnings tonight, to see what's happening here, which you'll be able to see on the Market Recap Show with Sean.
All right, let's keep an eye here on Veru. Veru's making a name for itself. It's showing up yet again on my scanner. VERU up, I think, where is it? 20% now. Not a bad look here for Veru. We were talking about this one last week, and I got caught in a bit of a down move on Veru last week. So let's have a look at the chart, which is taking a little bit to move. Yeah, so it started moving on the 11th, and it got, okay. Just give it a second to load. Yeah, started moving on the 11th. We're not really sure exactly why it started moving, but there is the volume that spiked up there into that 190, a few days of declines, and yet again, we have another nice up move off that $1. So it looks like that $1 came in here and got people interested. Now we're about 41 pennies, or no, 39 pennies off the highs. So keep your eye on Veru if you're interested in some small cap trading. But I got to tell you, it's for a dollar name, it's only done almost 5 million shares on the day. So it's not exactly, you know, the poster boy for volume on the day. So keeping an eye on that. Also keeping an eye on Donald John Trump. This one just went all the way up into 31.25. And here it comes all the way back down, breaking the volume weighted average price at 29.25. Let's put this one on the side chart over here because it's not updating for whatever reason. So let's keep an eye on this. Yeah, so DJT now at VWAP, which is interesting. It's held the volume weighted average price the entire day. The only time really that it broke below VWAP after the bell was this little dip here at 11:30, and it quickly got bought up. This one looks a bit more aggressive in its descent, especially with how it was trading. We had that top end of the range at 31.25. We broke it ever so briefly. The specialist breakout taking us to 31.25. Now it looks like we're going to give up the ghost at VWAP. 21.25 coming in, $29 after that, the whole dollar level. Otherwise, you're really going to have to look to the pre-market to find a level here for DJT. And you know, it may not respect these pre-market levels. $28 is the top of the institutional level print there. Looks like Donald John Trump might be giving up the ghost today on the recent price action. But down goes the future yet again. Here comes the 50-point level, 17,750 incoming here, and everything, including the dead one, which was AAPL today, it wasn't really moving here, is on the way down as well. So keeping an eye on all these names. NVIDIA now has broken down below the volume weighted average price. But for whatever reason, Amazon's putting a huge bottoming tail candle here. What a move down for Amazon. I can't believe it gave up 180 that aggressively. Put in a bit of a hammer candle. So I don't know. A lot of bamboozlement here on these markets. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red 5-minute candles in a row. Do we have a mean reversion trade here, or are we going to continue to give up everything on AMZN? Down 0.88% on the day. You can't really say that for a lot of these other ones. Meta has had a decent day. Google's had a decent day. Even NVIDIA, the fact that it's broken down below the VWAP now is obviously indicative of the market weakness, but it's still up 0.4, right? So we really haven't been tanking too much here on some of these Mag 7 names, despite the fact that the future is down 0.5% a day.
Yeah, it's been certainly, I think, an interesting move, but I'm noticing a bit of a change in the tides, perhaps. SoFi with this little doji, I think I want to get out of this. I was really happy with this trade. Thank you to Elon for shouting this one out, but I have to give credit to this trade to big Kyle Burdett, I tried, who shouted this one out to me in the first place. Look at this little shelf here, this kind of impenetrable surface above around the 734. Took that short, was really happy with how this went. And I think, too, the thing is I took part of this position out way too early at 7:30. We took like 4 pennies on this. And I think that's why one thing I want to work towards is having a bit of a larger position within reason so that I'm able to piece things out a little bit better. And so that I have, even though you can still keep pieces for the dream, but also make sure you know, have a little things more spaced out. So thank you, Kyle Burdett. Much appreciated. Also, this Tesla is reversing on us a little bit. Basically, I'm flat in the position right now. I was trying to get out at 77s or 76s initially. We didn't get that low. We got to 78s and flew back up. This is a bit of a hammer candle. It's a bit of a bamboozling candle. I'm not leaving yet, but I think I'm going to get out at 78s instead because I just want to make sure that I'm scalpulating and adjusting to the movement a little bit. So when I say scalpulating, it's like a calculated scalp. So that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on, taking a look at, and seeing what occurs here on these lovely markets. But yeah, SoFi I want to get out of here, although I am happy with the trade just because, like I said, I wanted to see what we did in this area. We get to the bottom of that little top and churn area, and then we have this doji. So to me, that is a sign. I think I have to say bye-bye to SoFi for now. So long, SoFi. There we go. I knew there was something in there somewhere. So long, SoFi. Also, NVIDIA. I do still kind of want to short this. Shout out to I think Kyle Burdett, a couple other people in this chat short the SPY. I like the idea. I'll go to my NVDL because that was what I'll actually be trading. I think this whole area of the previous support at that 35.80 then breaking down is kind of interesting. I want to see if we retest this, then I might get involved. But I also don't want to FOMO myself into this. I got a little too eager beaver to enter this trade here on this NVDL short initially, or sorry, not this one, this one. And then it ended up working out, but I spooked myself and got out. So I think I really want to be cognizant and make sure I'm entering because I actually see a level and a price I like, and not because I want to be where the people are. Shout out to Ariel of the Little Mermaid. How are you doing?
Good. Looking at Tesla, that's made its way back into view up again after a nice hammer candle there through 150. So the range establishing itself here on TSLA. This was the kind of the double top that we put in at the volume weighted average price last time at Tesla. It's been kind of a rinse and repeat, making it into VWAP and then tanking right back down. So we'll keep eyes on that, looking for that trade to hold on. Let's see exactly what we're doing on these markets. And then we'll figure out exactly what we want to do here. I'm going to get short Tesla at these levels, and then we'll give it to maybe the $0.75 or somewhere around there. So we'll figure it out as we go there on TSLA. The Fuge just printed 17,752 now. LOD. So now we're talking about the 50-point break here on the NQ June contract. Nothing is stopping NVIDIA from the descent to which it is experiencing right now. 840 is the line in the sand, I guess, between green and red on the day for NVIDIA. And it looks like we are awfully close to that. 842 2/3 is where we're at right now. We did print that 842 ever so briefly, and so that 840 is a target there for whoever is shorting NVDA. I mean, you don't have to get out your entire position, but definitely be cognizant of there. There goes Tesla to the downside, baby. So that range does rinse and repeat yet again on the range. So we'll take that quick trade there on TSLA. Let's see if they can break that 150, but nice little range there. Softy just broke 407. Softy's on the way down. Softy's having a bad day today. So 1 1/3. Is it the worst? No, Tesla's the worst with 3 1/3. In second place is Softy with 1 1/3. And that is an ugly, ugly looking chart there, but it was a fantastic hold off the close. And this is a missed trade by me again. You have that big move down at 930. You retrace that V-shaped retracement, and it held up right at yesterday's closing print. So that's a fantastic retracement there for Softy. The bamboozling part for me was I was looking for the long at 408 on Softy, but alas, that didn't come into play. It just ended up going down about another $2.50. So we'll see exactly what we get there with Microsoft, whether it can recover a little bit or not.
Yeah, I got out of SoFi, 10 pennies in the money. I did wait a little bit longer. Initially, I was going to get out, and I was like, you know what, Adara? Wait, we're seeing that move down here in the Qs. Then I see this bullish-looking candle in SoFi, and I said, so long. Officially said so long, waved goodbye. Really happy with this trade. Thank you again to Kyle Burdett for pointing it out. And that's why we have such a great community that people, if they see stuff they like, they'll point it out. They'll let you know, and I'm really happy to be able to hear and live trade now with everybody.
Bang.
Also, we're both in the Cybertruck to the downside, though I am in its little sister, I guess the Model 2. But I want to wait and see what happens here. Like I said, I wish I kind of scalped it earlier in that hammer candle, but that's okay. We're going to wait and see what happens. I don't have a reason to leave yet, so I'm just trying to breathe, trying to be chill, loosey-goosey in these markets, because these markets do not care about your feelings, and they will move how they move. NVIDIA, like I said, I was going to be watching that 80s, that 3580 area. We're coming into it. The thing that does make me nervous is, to me, this pseudo double bottom, or at least clear support area on NVIDIA, or let's switch to NVIDIA to explain this because that was NVDL. It looks the same on NVIDIA. Basically, NVIDIA around that 841, bit of a double bottom here, showing, hey, I am interested. I am planting my feet in the ground, and I have support here. I want to wait and see what happens, but if we get into 80s and reject 80s, I will be going short NVDL at 80.
You're taking all the smoke.
I would like to have all the smoke, yes. You know, I'm not going to say I want it. I'm going to politely request all the smoke. IBIT, I keep forgetting about IBIT. I'm neglecting it, and it's still having all these great levels. Look at this. We had this previous resistance here at this 3640. Tried to go long there. Didn't work out. That's okay. Had a nice little short there off of basically the same level. But then look, 3640 again, rejection. And then look what flipped from support to resistance, that 3630 area. If you come back to 3630s and reject, I am going short, and that is the plan here. Hopefully we can have some Bitcoin involved in IBIT. That
like it.
didn't really work.
It
But
worked.
yeah, so I
Fine.
appreciate it. Thank you. You are long in VDL.
Yeah, I'm trying to play the range. I'm thinking maybe a VWAP retracement. Let's see exactly what we get here. We're long 77s. I think Jay Lee was saying he's up 22 pennies in the money there on NVDL. So shout out to him. Shout out to Jay Lee, killing it today. With big Kyle Burdett. Let's see if we can make it into volume weighted average price on my chart for NVDA is about 840, 829. But I feel like it's a dead cat bounce right now. At least that's like kind of what I'm seeing. I know people don't like that expression.
Did
but,
she just meow?
did you meow, Ram? Oh my God. All right, we just wet our beak there on some profits on NVDL. Let's see if it can continue to move up here. I'm looking for an 848 retracement, but the other one that I need to be careful of is this TSLA short, and there it goes. So now I'm getting out of it. It just broke the volume weighted average price, and it's absolutely skyrocketing up.
Oh my God.
There goes Tesla through 150.80. And NVDL also moving up as well. Let's see if we can get a better print here. Tesla's going. Here we go. So Tesla, I had an alert set up for 151, but that was to go long. So I don't think that that's valid based upon my trade anymore. Nice move up here for NVDL. Let's take out some more on that move. So nice retracement here off that 840 dip and hold on NVDA. 840, by the way, guys, that is yesterday's closing print on NVIDIA, and it is on the way up here. So is the Future. The Future looks like it's making a 17.6 retracement. Be careful, though, because this could absolutely be bamboozling. 17.6 could come in, and you could absolutely get that rejection off that level. So I'm keeping my eye on these trades. Let's see what we get here, Adair.
Yeah, I mean, what a look here. I did get out of Tesla, and this was according to plan. You know what I mean? Like, I was risking about 3 pennies, got out exactly where I wanted to at that VWAP area, but more importantly, around that area of support we saw twice earlier, that 588 on Tesla. So it wasn't the best, but it didn't feel too much stressful because I followed my plan and I got involved. Also, if we keep seeing these higher highs and bouncing off this area, I'm going to watch. If 580 floor flips from resistance to support, I will be taking the long, and I do want, in fact, not just some, but all of the smoke. So we're going to take a look here at TSLL. What else is, let me see what else is going on in these markets here. Yeah, SoFi, I'm happy I got it where I did. We popped up a couple pennies here. You know, could still be a short if we reject off that 90 MA, but I'm going to keep an eye on. Let's see what happens. We shall be taking a look. Market bounce, says Joanna Brewster, and I do not disagree. A little bit of a bounce up there. Seeing some mentions of DJT. I know you were mentioning Donald John earlier, but I haven't really looked at this one much
It just
today.
reclaimed VWAP.
Oh,
right
this is a bit of a flat bottom break and a reclaim. I want to see kind of what we do here, though, because that was a pretty nice area of support earlier at that 2970. So shall we resist? Let us wait and see. Yeah, happy I got out of Tesla where I did. I think one thing I'm learning too is risk management and profit taking is really, really key. And you have to, I know that maybe might sound really rudimentary, and it is, but I think you feel it more when you're live. The importance of making sure that you're comfortable in your positions, that you have plans, and that you get in and out and scalp and do that dance with the market, do that tango, and don't let the market step on your foot or anything like that. You have to be light on your feet, doing that 2-step. In this case, right now, it looks like we might be taking a 2-step back to the upside. But if NVDL rejects here, I'm going short. Look, I have my little lines here. These are the 2 areas I was watching. Look at this line. I like this little topping tail candle. I think we're going to probably get short here. But I want to make sure I have a good stop area, which is why I haven't entered quite yet.
No worries, you're good.
Yeah, we're getting involved. We're doing it.
Nice, Adara.
Thank you.
Look at Amazon drop 30 cents in like seconds here. We went short 179.70 and it just dropped into 40s super quick. Wet our beak there on some profits, but that would look like to be a dead cat bounce off that 179.80. There goes Amazon to the downside, and it looks like we did get a rejection of 17.6 at those levels. We made it up, where do we make it up to? Into 17.594, and then which was a 10-period moving average on the 5-minute on the NQ, and it absolutely tanked. So I took that pop up there on AMZN, and then we wet our beak there for a nice 30-penny winner, well, actually more, and down into 179.40 on AMZN. Let's see what else is moving here. There's a lot that's curled up into, let's call it local resistance. I'm talking about you, Softy. Softy, you've been the weakest on the day, my man. Well, Tesla's weaker, but you know what I mean. This is the 10-period exponential moving average. Softy has rejected off the 10 EMA since around 12 o'clock, exactly 12 o'clock today, and it just made its way into 407 and 2/3, which is the 10 EMA. And down it went about 60 pennies now, on the way down into 407. So Softy also, you know, well, it's not new for Softy. Softy's been negative all day, but yet another rejection off a key technical area there for MSFT. The one that I really am wondering whether we find our footing today to the long is META. And the reason is because they did release today Llama 3, its latest AI model for training chatbots. They released its version earlier today. It has an image generator. I hope it does a lot better than Google's image generator that updates pictures in real time while users type prompts. I think that's pretty cool as it races to catch up, I guess, to some of ChatGPT's offerings there. The models will be generated into virtual assistant Meta AI, which the company is pitching as the most sophisticated of its free-to-use peers. Okay. And everybody knows Meta's been kind of touted for having its as a pseudo open source. Some people call it open source. Some people say, you know, it's not really that open source. Keeping an eye on META here. If this one finds its footing, strongest on the day in terms of Mag 7 names, up 2% is Meta, but, you know, being subjected, I guess, to the weakness of the overall market, Ram, as Meta makes its way right back down into 503, 504-ish area. It's been trying to hold up these pivots. What's going on over there, Katina Man? The Katina Man is short Tesla at these levels as it did the dance with 151 all the way back down into 150.30. We were short Tesla at that 150.50, and then it had that dance with 150, and then all right back up it went, Katina Man, into 151. So there was bamboozlement there earlier on TSLA. Adara.
Okay, I like that TSLA. Also, yeah, so Kevin Arn telling me in the chat, TSLT, yeah, I forgot about TSLT. I put it in my side chart for now, but I think, yeah, I don't know, I've been kind of becoming besties in terms of, with TSLL, in terms of just learning how it moves, so that's why I've been sticking with that one for now. I'm not opposed to TSLT, but I want to study it a little bit longer. Right now, NVIDIA, I'm in this short at NVDL, filled with a skosh of trepidation, but as Sean says, you know, you have to, scared traders are deficient traders. Scared money won't make money, and I want to be involved in this. I'm trying not to trade off P&L. I think that's one of the things that's the hardest to me for going live is because I was up on NVDL. I'm up on the day, and so I don't want to risk it in a trade, but it's like, Adara, you could also do well with the trade, right? So as long as you have parameters that make sense, don't spook yourself out. Wait and see what happens. So we're risking, I want to make about, yeah, I want to make like 40 pennies on this, 45 pennies. So I'm going to risk about 20 here. Look at that previous area of resistance at that 36.10. To me, if we reject that, that'll be spicy. It's going to be a spicy long. So I want to get involved in that. I usually don't like spice in the real world, but I love it in the markets. So let's see what happens here. I want that. I want all of the smoke. Not just some, an excessive amount of smoke here at this 36 area. I want it to come to the downside. Pardon?
You're going to choke, though.
Oh, I'm going to choke. That's true, yeah.
What are you putting in the chat there, Katina, man? Oh, yeah? Did you do a walk and talk? Okay, we're bringing it up. Is this... What is this thing doing? These things are menaces to society, bro. He's looking at you, Katina, man. He wants to smoke. Can I tell you a little sad story? One guy, like, you know I live off Yonge Street, so someone ran over one of these. No, you can put it on. Went over... Like that. Midtown Katina, man. And the thing about it is, you know that they're nesting right now. And so the mom and pop, they share responsibilities. So I felt really bad. One of the other ones who kept looking for the other partner after it got run over. Yeah. Yeah, I felt really bad for that. What? Yes, or what's that other park that everyone goes to? High Park, yeah.
Queen's
Cherry
Park?
Blossom time, baby. What's up?
I was gonna say Queen's Park is so nice. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I just walked in Queen's Park this morning. Super nice. You know, stepping over all the garbage and stuff like that. It's fine. It's no big deal. Keeping an eye on this 504 area for META. It's putting higher lows. So is AMZN, but I'm not going to punch anything long at these levels. Let's see what we get here, Adara.
Yeah, I mean, also, let's see what we get. I do want to give a quick shout out in a moment here, but first, I want to talk about this NVDL. I'm happy I didn't panic sell. We're still involved. We want all, I can't call it NVIDIA, I guess NVIDIA? I don't know. But yeah, we're in the NVIDIA long ETF. This is one example, at least so far it's working out, that you do have to sometimes be a little bit nervous to make money and stay hold to your convictions, stay true, stay involved. I'm happy with this trade. We're basically flat on it right now, but I do like what I'm seeing with these little candles. If you look at its big sister, NVDA, NVDA also kind of seeing the same thing. We had this little doji. We're struggling with VWAP. I think if we do break above VWAP, we could do so with a viciousness, but we haven't done so yet. So I have no reason to leave. I keep telling myself that, Adara, it's like, stay calm, stay chill. Stay with the movement. Get into the groove. NVIDIA prove why you're a short. So let's find out. I guess we're taking Madonna over here in the market. Also, Nick W was mentioning Shopify. So let's take a look at Shopify and see how this guy's doing. Did we have any new catalysts on Shopify? Let's find out what's happening in Shopify. Not seeing anything new on this one, but yeah, kind of stutter stepping to the downside. That is for sure on the 5-minute chart. This is definitely a downward trend. On the daily, let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, daily, honestly, I have to say, for me, this is a bit of a weak look. We've kind of continued to curl to the downside on this name. And we also, this was kind of an interesting area of support earlier, that 72 that we did break below. However, now the last couple of days, we've been sort of stagnant at the 68.20 level. I want to see what happens. I want to see if we break above this 9 EMA on the daily chart. But I have to admit, right now, these dojis, it seems like there's a lot of indecision and a bit of weakness here on Shopify. And with that, we are actually going to say a thank you to our lovely sponsor. Thank you for sponsoring this part of the show, Pandimensional. Researching and strategizing the stock market does not have to be difficult. Begin with your personalized AI investing co-pilot from Pandimensional. You can easily discover stocks and effortlessly test and execute your strategy ideas. So get quick and digestible stock market insights with Pandimensional's AI chatbot, and back test and forward test strategies with Pandimensional's AI simulator, all on a beginner-friendly platform. Try it now for free. So thank you very much to Pandimensional. I love that name, and I love this website setup.
What does this company do?
It's like AI trade ideas.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Very nice. All right, keeping an eye here on Softy. We are short Softy. Just wet my beak there on some profit. Softy's been super, super weak. Let's see if we can take this one a little bit short. Now 20 pennies in the money on MSFT. Now 1 1/5 in the negative. It was a lot more negative earlier than that, though. There we go on Softy, man. The Katina man's taking that short. I took Softy short. Shout out to the Katina man for that big short. Shout out to Adara for her excellent trades on the day. Everything really except Google at lows right now. Well, Tesla's not at lows either. We're about $2. No, $1. You can get it, Sharif. You can get it. $1 off the lows there, but everything else printing lows, baby. I'm talking about you, Amazon. I'm talking about you, Apple. Well, not everything's printing lows. I a little exaggerated there, I guess. And NVIDIA is not printing lows either at that 847. It looks like we rejected that level on NVDA. We'll have to see if that one can curl right back down. That 840 level, though, on NVIDIA was excellent. We had that long earlier, and it paid all the way back into that 848 area. So we'll see if this one can be a rinse and repeat trade, whether it can range between the volume weighted average price, which is hanging around at 848, and the closing print from yesterday, which is 840. So we'll keep an eye on that. The future, though, it did print low of day. So the future on the way down, it's another 17.6 rejection. That move back up was a dead cat bounce, for lack of a better term. Keep your eye though on the 100-point level, because we'll keep looking for these scalps on some of these names. Adera.
Yeah, I was just getting kicked out of Sean going, oh yeah.
What does he want? Sean Katina, good vibes Katina, fire off that hot dog dance, baby. Bang.
Yeah, I mean, shout out there. We are all hot dog cannons over here. I'm an NVDL. There, Sean's doing it in real time there too. Not just the, also I love that a lot of Sean's animations have to do with like him being food. Because there's the hot dog, there's the chicken one. Do you know what, has anyone else
Hey man,
that?
we love food, baby.
I love it. I just, oh my gosh, there's one.
And there's that one too. Okay, all right.
Right now, because I also love that there's 3 Sean chickens. Like, I don't know, all of the Sean animations. I get a kick out of all of the animations. They're great. Oh, there's also, I didn't even notice that one. Oh, and he's also.
Oh, that's from the fruit salad days, right? Yeah, because we get a whole huge fruit salad in the back. So I remember he would make himself a bowl, and yeah, you haven't been doing it. Yeah, do it. Yeah, start it again, because then we would always look at exactly what was in the bowl that day, and then you would always pick out the green ones. What are the cantaloupe? It wasn't the cantaloupe. What's the green cantaloupe?
Honeydew melon.
Thank you, honeydew melon. Yeah, I saw you picking those out, Katina, man. I was like, are they good for something? Are they high in something? You're like, yeah, they're high in taste. So shout out to him. I'm not hating. He doesn't like apples in fruit salad. I like apples. I just don't really care.
Rain just said she hates apples. Did you hear that?
Yeah, Ram, do you hate apples? She only likes green apples. So she's in my good books, because that's my favorite type of apple. So
She likes his very specific fruit taste, does for me. But yeah, right now.
Very specific.
I wish I had scalped out of this NVDL a little bit earlier. We're basically flat in the position, trying to stay calm. You know what? I don't want to. Oh, now it looks like we might be curling back up here. So it could have gotten out a little bit earlier. That's okay, Dara. Breathe, stay calm. Worst case scenario, just scalp out at 80s here. I'm happy I stayed in it for the move down. I just wish I had been a bit scalpier. And that's one thing I'm working on is still, I feel like I want to have these big grand movement trades. And sometimes you just have to take advantage of the movements you like and stay true to the type of trader you are. So that's okay. We're still in this. We're still below VWAP. We're still staying loose with it. Sorry for the weird dances. Just trying to get nice and loose and enjoying these markets. How you like them apples, says Phony Baloney. It's pretty funny. Phony Baloney, another food-related name. So good times there. Right, good times, good vibes with Katina as well to our right. But also, SoFi to the downside. I got out of this. I did get out of this a little bit earlier when we had that pop up there. Still happy with this trade. But shout out to Kyle Burdett. A, for recommending this one to me in the first place, and B, it sounds like you're printing, so shout out to you on that. NVIDIA getting dangerously close to where I'm going to be leaving, which is going to be that 3610 area, because we had that massive resistance on this earlier. Might have been a mistake not to scalp out of this, but that's okay. I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm trying to trade a little bit less on P&L and more just in how I feel and if I like the trade. IBIT getting really top and shirt here. It's like the range per candle could maybe give us a nice scalp. Right now, though, I'm going to have to see. I think I might need to say au revoir to NVDL, so I might have to get out of this if you do not mind. Really
yeah, absolutely. Let me take over.
Thank you.
All right, keeping an eye on this curl back up here. Let's be real about it. Google leading the way to the high side. Google is like 20 pennies off high a day. I can't believe Google's been completely outdoing the market. And even when it retraced, what a beautiful retracement into the volume weighted average price. Google's been very strong on the day, on its way up. There goes the $0.75. But let's be real about it. We're still below 17.6, so I'm not looking long at these levels quite yet. All right, so that is the situation there. The weakest of the bunch, maybe not by percentage-wise, but I got to tell you, it looks like Apple. I mean, look at the rejection after rejection on the 10-period EMA on AAPL. I mean, you got bamboozled once over here at 130. It popped up a little bit. So popped up 11 pennies. So if you had your stop 15 pennies or maybe above the 20-period, you were fine. But it's been, excuse me, lower highs, lower lows on AAPL. Now, I had that short on Softy, which was profitable, but here we go. Now we're putting in some higher lows on Softy, and this one's been beat up bad. It was 1/3 percentage to the downside. I'm going to keep my eye on a 408 rejection here on Softy, and that owes to this low end of the range that we had today from 9:30 till about 10:35. So we kept coming into that 408 area, and we'd get bought up again. So typically, you know, we look for previous areas of support to act as resistance once they've been broken. So Softy on its way up, maybe here into the 20 period. I mean, it's been rejecting the 10 period since around 12 o'clock. Today, it hasn't made a deeper retracement from the 10 period into the, from the 10 into the 20. So we'll see if it comes into that 408 area. I'll be looking to short Softy again at 408. What else we got over here? We also have NVIDIA coming, NVIDIA coming into that volume weighted average price area, which is on my chart about 848.5. This one dipped aggressively into 840-ish territory, didn't quite make it down to 840. But now let's look to see, is the volume weighted average price going to act as a key area of resistance here for NVDA on the day? Right now it is. So if you already took the original short at 847 over here, you printed something like 844. So we'll see. We'll see here on NVDA. I won't trade NVDA. I'll do like Adara is doing and trade NVDL if we want to take NVIDIA short. So I'm keeping my eye on that. I'm also keeping my eye on the fact that Meta is curling back up here off that key area of support, and that happens to be resistance level 1 on pivots. Once you clear something as a resistance level, it typically acts as a level of support, and there you go. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles all bouncing off this totally random area of 503.5 on META. So I'll be very interested to see if this one can curl back into 506.25, because that's where the volume weighted average price is. Otherwise, I'm still looking short on all these names. That is obviously except for Google, because Google seems to be just awfully strong in the face of overall market weakness. Let's have a look now at some of the small cap gappers that we were talking about earlier. CGC just will not let off. So this one has been absolutely holding either the 10 or the 20 for the most part. You have a bit of a dip trade here that broke both into 70 for whatever reason. I think that was the overall market sell-off at around 115 to 125. But then came the buying yet again, and you broke above that $8 level on a closing basis. I want to say if we close this candle above $8, it'll be a closing basis. Right now, it looks as if it might be coming in as a topping tail candle with an 8. Well, there you go. So now it does close above 8. Let's see if this one can continue here. CGC continuing to get that strong momentum from yesterday from that Benzinga Cannabis Conference that they had in Florida, I believe. So yeah, and all the weed names strong today? Let's have a look here. Weed, okay. So CGC 25%, Aurora Cannabis ACB 13.5%, but you have the MSOX and the MSOS, which are the cannabis ETFs. They're 3.5 and 6 2/3% to the downside. So not everything is participating in this move. Tilray, another big name in weed, is up 1.45, so 1.5% there. But the big names, I would say, CGC and ACB, and they're not letting off. They're not letting off. They're continuing to move up in the face of market weakness. Donald John Trump did spend about 15 minutes below the volume-weighted average price, but it was quick to reclaim it, though. It's at $29.99 now. So let's see, can this one now use 30 as a level of resistance? It was initially using 30 as a level of support. Look, it hasn't been the best trade ever since, let's say, 11. I mean, you could have taken that VWAP dip off 29.25 at 11, but since then it's been awfully range-bound and with kind of unpredictable ranges. Look at this. It breaks above the range over here and below the range over here. So if you're looking for that calm trade, you're not going to get it on Donald John Trump. I'm talking about a calm range trade. That is, you know, unless you get lucky a little bit and don't get bamboozled to the high side and the low side. So we'll keep eyes on that. Veru as well, continuing to go. Shout out to Feifei and the CEO of Veru, apparently. 142 HOD, and we're printing 138 right now. It's been bouncing off the 10 period. No closing prints south of the 10 period on VERU. Does this thing have a catalyst? No, it doesn't have a catalyst today. It's just continuing, I guess, to run from, oh, hello.
Dada.
Do I have that? Yeah, I don't know why they muted it.
The pointing finger too. Oh.
Hey.
I want so badly to know the context of that.
I have. Oh, they know. They know what it is. I forget what it is though.
Amazing.
I guess they'll remind us.
Oh, there he is.
MSFT right back into day's lows again, 406.5. The area that we covered, softy short last time, right back down it goes. Market weakness, we're not done yet, baby. I think we see 17.5 by the end of the day. What a move down. And if you took that NVIDIA VWAP rejection, you were rewarded yet again, my friends, because we made our way into 8 3/4, and then the tank came in not a second too late to 840 and a fifth. So there you go, 4-banger there for NVDA, but it is putting in higher lows. So who knows? What's your look there, Adara?
Yeah, so my look is I took that NVDL short, but I just took a little teeny tiny one. I was just trying to take that range of that 36 to 35.90 area. I guess I was a little bit too nervous, but I think too the thing is I felt a little bit once bitten, twice shy after I didn't scalp out quickly enough in that first trade. But it's like Adara, it was a separate trade. And this one also, by the time we already failed this, I think it was even a stronger sign that NVIDIA was, or NVDL was a short here, right? So I should have been more confident in that trade. That's okay. We did take some pennies on it. I'm happy to say that I am positive on the day. And I think I learned a lot, especially with this NVIDIA trades. A, I need to make sure that I'm still scalping a little bit. But B, if I have a plan for a longer trade, don't be upset because it didn't work out. I was getting a little bit upset, but I risked. The plan was risk 20, trying to make 45 pennies. So, I mean, I can't, the plan worked. I stayed with my plan. It just didn't work how I wanted it to, right? So that's okay. I think as long as you're sticking to your plan, then I can't be too upset about that at all. I am upset, however, speaking of plans, that I didn't look back an IBIT because, whew, that short. Talk about this slow break to the downside, chopping and turning around VWAP, and then whoop, there it is. Flush, there it is to the downside. When do we short, says Mark Kimmerling. I think this market certainly in a state of, Streef might say, a state of full tank right now. But if I'm looking at the Qs, this is interesting. We're continuing to duck below this 90 EMA. We had certainly some support at that 423.25 area, and we're coming back in there. We're about 20 pennies, knocking on the door of that again. The official low of the day is 423.19, so I think if it gives up the ghost here, things get very spicy if you are a bear. Sean was saying earlier in the chat, where my bear's at, I think a lot of people are going, rawr, rawr, rawr. There we go. That's better than me trying to make a bear sound, so appreciate that animation there. Come on, SPY, break 499, says DJ Marshall. Let's find out what's happening here in the SPY. This is, yeah, like I said, the SPY and the Q, very similar, Qs plural, very similar looking today in that we have this kind of chop and churn, this intense area. We're waiting to see what happens. And I think if we break here, I think it could be quite spicy indeed. We're a little bit farther, though, from breaking on the SPY than we are in the Qs. We're about 60 pennies, I want to say, from breaking on the SPY and much closer to breaking on the Qs. Qs, we are, right now we're like 25 pennies from low of day, so I think the Qs are much more ready to go to the downside. Sean's going to keep riding that bear, I'm sure, well into the afternoon if the markets continue to go in this direction. No more Fed speakers during market hours. We do have Fed Bostic tonight, though, so keep an eye on that. Sean is a superstar, says Richard. And I mean, yeah, I love this team. I love everybody in the chat, everyone here as well on the floor. It's such a great community to learn with, and I feel very happy to be a part of it.
Couldn't agree more. Well said there, Adara. Let's keep eyes on Softy, man, because 406 is incoming. We were talking about a 408 defend, 406, my goodness, Softy. We were trading Softy in a range last week from 420 to 422. We've since given that up, so it's a bit of a, well, a bit of a dip on Softy, but the fact of the matter is it's still up 8% on the year. Compare that to Apple, which is down 13.33%. So, yeah, bit of a tough look here. You could say it's priced to perfection at these levels. Let's see, where are we on the market cap? Just above $3 billion is Softy at the moment. Sebastian, I was outside walking the dogs. I missed the flush. Yeah, I know that's kind of the whole thing with the market. If you don't have eyes on it, it just kind of does its own thing. So we'll keep eyes on that for you. What else? What else here? I don't really have any. I'm not going to get into any trades with 3 minutes left. Any final thoughts, Adara, that you want to leave people with?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think my final thoughts are these markets have been, you know, as Sharif once said about NVIDIA, the bamboozlement is real. And I think you've certainly had that up, down, all around, side to side. It sounds like I'm describing the cha-cha slide, but no, I am describing these markets today. We have Qs and SPYs both.
Have you ever done the cha-cha?
Yeah. That foot, so that stop.
Cha-cha list, man.
Right foot, left stop. Cha-cha, real smooth. Yeah, Winnipeg has a lot of like socials and sock hops. We talked about this, and that was the big thing at all the sock hops was the cha-cha slide.
Can I ask you something?
Please do.
I know this is more for men, but is it part of Midwestern, Canadian Midwestern culture to put men through cotillion? Or
Not in my experience,
Not in
no.
yours? Okay.
I'm trying to think if I knew anyone who did. No, we did
Cotillion,
not.
bro.
Like
You'll
we didn't
give
have
me
like the
the
Deb
look.
cotillion culture. No, that was not my experience.
Okay.
I mean, if anyone here in Canada, Midwestern Canada, knows any differently, let me know. But that
You got to
didn't
get
happen.
everyone ready for the social graces of 16th century Europe. I mean, like if you don't do that, then
Right? Well, I mean, and the sock hops are very of the 1960s. We're, I guess, of a different time over there in Winnipeg. So that's a good point.
Neil was like,
it's
"What are you talking
It's
about?"
like those dances where they like present everyone. Like you have to go with a date, and it's very old-fashioned and very dated in terms of the whole
Texas, they do
vibe.
that.
Everybody wears, yeah, it's like Texas, more like the South, I think,
Yeah,
than
yeah,
the
yeah,
Midwest.
yeah,
But yeah, that was a fun little like side.
Quickly, just before we head over to the big kahunas, I want to mention XPON, small cap gapper, just showed up here midday. Let's cover that super quick. We have 2 minutes left on the show. It is a market cap of about 20 million, a little bit south of $20 million. I'll give you the float on that bad boy in a second. 4.8 million shares. It's trading above the volume weighted average price right now. HOD 325. This one didn't show up on my chart because it huadunked off the bell. Double top at 325, then broke well below volume weighted average price. Did hold $2. It's above there now. It got into 315, still lower high, but it is above the volume weighted average price. Be careful with this one. I personally don't have a headline for this one. What does this company do? Batteries and recreational vehicles, marine industrial. Okay, so I don't have a headline for this. So, you know, oh, hold there. There is a headline. You're right. Announces substantial pre-orders of its Group 27 and GC2, now featuring vertical heat conduction technology. Sounds good. Don't care what any of that is, just the fact that it is moving. So all my small cap traders, a new one on the horizon.
Yeah, that one took a while to get moving. It was like below 1 mil until 10 a.m. But right now, speaking of time, we are out of it for today. So we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Right now, though, Brendan is going to be at the big desk.
See you guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. A couple hours left on a Thursday afternoon here. That's turning into an interesting one, to say the least. I was just checking out a couple of different currencies. Canadian dollar, to start with, first off here, all the way back to November.